What time is it? It's TOYCON TV time. Hi, and good evening. This is your weekly catch-up with the local toy and comics community and fandoms that love everything pop culture. And this is our way to keep the TOYCON community together despite our being kept physically apart. This is TOYCON TV powered by Xlink, and welcome to episode 17. By the way, my name is Cholo, and it's nice to have you on the show. Now, here's a picture which shows me holding a toy. Next slide. All right. There's nothing remarkable about this except that if you're a Marvel collector, as I know that some of you are, you will recognize the toy that I'm holding is truly quite exceptional. That is a mint in package Toy Biz Fantastic Four Dragon Man. And as you Marvel Legends collectors know, that is quite an exciting piece of plastic to be holding because it was never made. That's right. That particular toy, which I had the good fortune of holding, was never produced for the mass market. For one reason or the other, the powers that be had decided that this toy would never be made, which makes prototypes like these quite rare in the collector's market. But who are these powers that be? Who makes the decisions whether a toy is made or not? And who makes it possible that the toy actually reaches stores or not? Now, for those of you who know the business, one significant event held every year is the New York Toy Fair. No, it's not like TOYCON where people go to buy and look for toys. Well, it is a place where people buy toys, but it's at such a volume that we would have to be owners of toy chains or retail stores or large hobby stores in order to sell these toys. The New York Toy Fair is where toy manufacturers meet the retailers, and they meet and talk shop, which pretty much determines what toys make it to market and which don't. It's probably the place where toy designers are made, where toy designers' dreams are made or are dashed on the rocks in a manner of speaking, where a flat image like this drawing of He-Man by one of our guests tonight gets to be sculpted, 3D scanned, made into a maquette, and rotosculpted in plastic, packaged and made ready for stores. Tonight's episode will deal with the down and dirty work of how toys are created by consumer insights and by market study, and how they find their way from the artist's imagination to your grubby collector's hands. So it's episode 17 for TOYCON TV, playing with the big boys, the Toy Creatives Talk Shop. Let's introduce our guests for tonight, all big names in the toy industry, and we're very happy to have them on the show. And they are all living the dream of creating toys and toy lines that we all enjoy. Now, to help me for tonight is a good friend of mine who, when not appearing in Hollywood blockbusters, like a little movie called The Dark Knight. Yes, yeah. We just very recently celebrated an anniversary for the Dark Knight trilogy, and this guy actually came out in The Dark Knight. I'll introduce you to him, and he'll let you have it. So he also is, of course, a very avid comic book collector, toy collector, and he organizes conventions and sets up TV stations around the world. Please welcome on the show my good buddy, Mr. Brett Benson. Hi, Brett. Good to have you.
How are you doing? Nice to be here.
Nice to have you. All right. So you're actually you're American.
I'm American.
But you're
currently
based
in
here.
Manila. Yep.
Currently based in Manila. So, but this is actually where you stay. Like you're not just locked down here for
No,
for the
not
quarantine.
locked down here.
All right.
My family lives here. I've been living here for about a year, but the
Nice,
work I
nice.
do takes me all over the world. So a lot of time in the Middle East, a lot in Asia, but weirdly enough, never back to America.
And I did mention that you have your specific claim to fame is that you came out in the Dark Knight movie, and you were
That's right.
credited as the how were you credited again? You were credited as the guy in a suit
with paper.
With paper. That's
Yeah.
that's how you were credited on the Dark Knight. And you
Yeah.
actually did come out. You showed me there's actually something on YouTube which shows you in all 6 seconds of your glorious Dark Knight appearance, right?
Well, it's a lot, thankfully you make it a lot easier to prove to people that I'm actually in the movie. I mean, six
Yeah.
seconds to me seems like a lifetime, but for most people, it's a blink and you miss it. So thankfully, able to find the clip, put it up there. Uh, but yes, was able to spend the day working with Morgan Freeman and Christian Bale, uh,
Nice.
and walking behind them, guy in suit with a newspaper.
Cool, cool. All right. But much more than that, actually, the more important part of you being here is that you actually have experience in, not just in collecting toys, but actually in marketing events that actually have to do with the toy industry. So you,
Yep.
as you mentioned, you put together two very big shows in the Middle East, the Dubai Comic Con,
Yep.
right?
Well,
And
I've been
just
involved with that since 2012,
all
and that
right.
has been. I work on a couple of different areas for that. Since I moved here, I have not been working on that. Uh,
Oh,
but
okay.
before, when I was living out in Dubai, I'd be involved with anything from sponsorship and sales, celebrities, and then arranging for guests to come on, toy companies to come in and to bring exclusives to the show. And
Oh,
the
it's good
other
that you mentioned.
convention, oh,
Hmm.
go
Yeah,
ahead,
yeah. Go
Joel.
ahead. Go ahead. No, no, no.
Uh,
You were
the
saying.
the other convention that we're working on and was supposed to start this
It
year
happened, right?
did not happen because of COVID. Uh,
Oh,
it's going to be a two-part convention, a gaming convention, and then a comic book convention for Qatar.
wow.
So the Qatar Games Expo and then Qatar Comic Con. We're just waiting to see what will happen when things can get back to normal and we can have events again.
Wow, wow. That sounds awesome. And we'll look forward to that. I'm pretty sure that's still gonna happen one way or the
Oh yeah,
other. If not this year, maybe in the coming years. You did mention that you get to deal with a lot of companies that have to do with the stuff that we love, which is basically
oh
the
yeah,
toys. Of course, in ToyCon, we also feature a lot of toy companies who put stuff up on display that are not yet for sale. These are what we call probably previews, and
yep,
we've somehow been able to talk shop with these people, and they sort of gave us a background on what toys make it to market. And for collectors, this is something very important because the collectors want to have their say as to what product actually gets made. Um, Very recently on Netflix, we saw a lot of that in a series called "The Toys That Made Us." I'm pretty sure it's a show that you're familiar with. It talks a
oh
lot
yeah.
about how our favorite toy lines came to be or almost never came into existence if not for good twists of fate and a lot of hard work from people who actually uh, pushed hard to have these toys created. So tonight's show is something similar to that. We're going to be
Yep.
talking to some big names in the toy industry, uh, from designers to product managers to actual, people who conceptualize and push entire toy lines to market. And I don't know, Brett, what is your own experience of the industry, this aspect of the toy industry?
Well, I mean, the guests that are on tonight, any question that you will have regarding how take a toy from the idea all the way through production, design, manufacturing, distribution to where it's going to go in the store, whether it be on an end cap or in the aisle, whether it's going to be ground level, eye level for kids. Uh, that's all going to be encompassed here because the guests we have know every single facet of the market. For me, I come across as a collector that's fortunate enough to work with companies like this from time to time. Um, it's my passion, but it's not my career.
All right. So we will live vicariously through these three guests, and we'll start to introduce them now. So allow us to bring in our very first guest for tonight, and he's coming to us all the way from Sicily, Palermo, Italy. All right. He is an Italian comic book and concept artist. He's an illustrator and a toy designer. In 2002, he scored the job to illustrate Image Comics Masters of the Universe comic book. And I'm sure if you are a He-Man fan, a Masters of the Universe fan, you are very familiar with his art. And he also helped relaunch the Mattel He-Man toy line with some of his particular designs for this particular character. And he also designs package art and also toys for Hasbro. Of course, the big name in toys, Hasbro's Transformers line of toys. So please welcome on TOYCON TV, Brett, please do the honors.
Well, Emiliano Santalucia.
There you go. Hello.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Correctly? Oh, good to see you. Good to see you, Emiliano.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Now, did I get your name correct? Santalucia?
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
in the Philippines. There is also a surname called Santalucia. It's two words, Santalucia. But how do you pronounce your last name? Santalucia?
Santalucia. Santalucia. Yes.
Santalucia.
The Italian pronunciation of CI is Chi. So it's Chia. Nice. Yeah.
And are you the typical Italian that loves the outdoors, loves Italian food?
I do love Italian food.
Loves talking with your hands?
No, not really. I don't gesture much.
Not too much.
No, that's the thing. It's kind of a stereotype that there is outside. I mean, we use hands gesture a lot, but I think some got in the Italian-American culture, and we don't really use this particular gesture in the way that immigrants from the past from Italy use them. But yeah, I do love Italian food a lot. Actually, I love food from everywhere. I like exploring food from all over the world. It's my way of exploring food. I like outdoors, but being an artist is not something I can afford that often.
So you spend more time indoors. So if you don't talk a lot with your hands, I'm pretty sure you do a lot of other great work with your hands. Particularly, you draw. You are an artist. A lot of people, when we talked about you online, and we put up some of your stuff, pretty much the Transformer stuff that you do for Hasbro. But a lot of people actually know you from your He-Man designs.
Yeah.
People know you from the comic book, the Masters of the Universe comic book, which you did for Image, right?
Yeah. Well, Image was one of the publishers. The studio that actually produced the comic was NV Creations, run by Val Staples. And the way Image work is that they publish comics basically self-produced by different studios or authors. So MV Creation got the license for Masters of the Universe, and Image published it for like the first series. Then we got to CrossGen, then we self-published, and then we got to Image again for the last few issues.
All right. And when you were drawing, maybe just to open things up, when you were drawing these comics, were you like given explicit instructions that this comic book would soon turn into a toy line?
We were actually working on the trail of the new toy line. Mattel was about to relaunch Masters of the Universe in 2002, so they were already producing the new cartoon with Mike Yan Production, and they were going to launch this new toy line, which was designed by the Four Horsemen Studios. And we got the license, and of course, our comic had to follow that new series. So yes, we were given like the designs for the toys, the design for the cartoon, the story. I don't think I got to see the cartoon in advance, but we were following that continuity. It wasn't just our thing. It was not our comic that we created from scratch, but we were fitting in that relaunch.
All right. Wow. And while you were talking there with the camera close up on you, I was just so distracted by the toys in the background. Are you also into Voltes 5? Because Voltes 5 is really big here in the Philippines. I'm pretty sure you've heard of that.
That's a little joke we prepared with Alfred, because he found out that we in Italy we had a lot of Japanese robots.
Right.
Starting from Mazinger and Grandiza. So we got Voltes and Matla, And so we said, okay, let's put Voltus on the background. I'm sure the guys will notice that, of course.
For sure, definitely. You have got our attention. Thank you, Emiliano, and we're excited to hear your story, your journey as a toy creator, as a toy designer. We'll check you back in later on. But thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Our next guest is one of our very own, and we're very proud of him because he's come a long way from building garage kits of his favorite characters. He founded his own company, and he's now the president and chief product supervisor of Halimao Sculptures and the legendary Beast Studios, which he will be talking more about when he guests. And of course, legendary Beast Studios is now a very big name in the Philippines because it is the first company to ever be licensed by Marvel to come up with high-end collectibles in partnership with XM Studios. And legendary Beast Studios is also licensed by DC Comics in partnership with Pacific Licensing here in the Philippines. All right, so we all know and love him. He's a TOYCON regular. Please welcome on the show, Mr. Jay Sia. Hello, Jay. Good to have you. Is he here?
Jay,
oh no, he's off. Oh wait, hold on. I'm pretty sure he will join us back. We will try to get back in. All right, we'll try to get him back in. I think his connection. All right, we'll try to get him back in. All right, so let's move on to our next guest. And Brett, thank you so much for inviting him on our behalf. He is a former senior manager, or rather, former senior product manager and product analyst for several toy companies. He started off with Mattel and then moved on to Jakks Pacific, Jada Toys, and Loot Crate. But now he has his own company. He serves as the creative director of his own brand specialist company called Spector Creative. All right. Brett, please do introduce our third guest.
Our next guest is Scott Neitlich, coming all the way from North Carolina.
Hi, Scott.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good evening.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's the opposite time for me and you, right? You're like at night and I'm in the middle of the morning.
Yeah, exactly 12 hours. So it makes it easy.
Your resume is actually something that a lot of people are envious about. Just hearing the companies that you've actually worked with, like Mattel, and just for Mattel, the products that you actually developed for Mattel are quite epic. A lot of people are on board tonight because they know that you are very instrumental in putting together the DC Universe, the DC Classics line for Mattel. How long did you work on that, Scott? What was the inspiration of coming up with a DC line for Mattel?
Well, Mattel had already been making DC 6-inch action figures before I got there. I started in Mattel in 2005 in November. And at that time, they already had been doing the DC superheroes line, which was just limited to Batman and Superman characters, but in, what you would call traditional 6-inch collector scale, like what Toy Biz was doing with Marvel Legends at the time. And right when I came on board, I started off in Hot Wheels, and then I moved over to the action figure group pretty quickly. That's kind of where my passions led. And it was one of those, like alignments of fate where right when I moved over to the group, Mattel and DC, Warner Brothers, had basically got a new contract that gave Mattel, lights to the whole DC universe, basically. It was the master toy license. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. It was a brand new contract. So essentially, instead of just being able to do Batman and Superman families, they can now do everybody, Flash and Green Lantern and Commandy and anybody. So I had just moved over to the action group, and since they knew I was a huge comic book fan and sort of knew the DC universe inside and out, I got assigned to be kind of the junior marketing guy on the DC brand and helped usher it in. I worked with Jim Murphy, who was a senior brand manager at the time on wave 1. And then I think I kind of took over in full somewhere around like wave 3 or 4, I would say. And I worked all the way through wave 19. I think wave 20 was
oh
the
my
one
gosh.
I didn't work on. So, I mean, I can't take credit for creating it because it was sort of the wheels were already in motion, but I definitely had a lot of influence on which characters were going to be in there, when they were going to be released, how they were going to be released, and that kind of thing.
I'm not sure if you've been asked this question, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people are curious. Were you like spurred to compete with with at that time Toy Biz, right? Toy Biz was coming up with the Marvel Legends. Was this something that was rattling around in your brain to come up with a DC counterpart for that particular line?
And again, I mean, I can't take credit for, because I didn't come up with DC Universe Classics. That was basically something that was an evolution of what Mattel was already doing with the DC Superheroes line. They were already doing 6-inch figures. Actually, like here, this is one of the early. This is a DC Superheroes figure, not DC Universe Classics, but
right.
It's in scale to a Marvel Legends figure, and so. I mean, it was basically Marvel Legends and the original DC Superheroes line were basically coming out at the same time, and we kept doing the 6 inches. Yeah, exactly that. This was like becoming the new standard for collectors in 6-inch, and I was lucky enough to be on the train.
Well, I mean, lucky enough is just pure envy and jealousy from probably everyone that's watching this right now.
I mean, I was basically it was like being in the right person at the right place at the right time, because when I came over to the marketing group I was in the Hot Wheels packaging group is where I started at Mattel as a writer.
Wow.
And I had made a pitch for what eventually became MattyCollector.com. And that's how I moved over into the marketing group. And yeah, like I said, when I moved into the I think one of the big, pull the veil off or open the curtain is that most people in the toy industry, one, are not toy fans. I mean, they're product. I mean, they're really good at their job, but they're not like the crazy collectors that we are.
Yeah.
And I was definitely kind of like a square peg in a round hole. The fact that I was a collector and I was working on toys, and there's not many people in the industry, and especially 15 years ago, 20 years ago, that were that. And management essentially was like, well, let's just harness his enthusiasm and see where he can run with the line. So yeah, I was just the right person at the right place, and it was amazing. It was really great. And I mean, I had so many amazing opportunities because of that.
Wow. And one of our viewers actually just remarked that I should be calling you by your proper title, which is Toy Guru. You're actually referred to in the industry as Scott ToyGuru Neitlich.
Yeah, that's
very deservedly so.
Just kidding.
Wow. And then after, go ahead.
Oh, just say that just started because I needed some name on social media to talk to the fans, and like it wasn't like I was trying to create a persona. But I think it just kind of got away from me. So that's awesome. And I still use it. So.
And well, I mean, the way that it's encompassed your career, everything that you've done, it's very appropriate.
Well, I'll take it.
And so what you've been doing as well is, aside from, your work at Matty Collector, Mattel, and now your own Spector Creative, you also have your own Spector Creative YouTube channel, which goes through quite a bit of the entire history of what you've been doing.
Yeah, I only started it a few months ago, and a big part of it was because of the whole, COVID, lockdown thing. Here I was stuck in my house, not being able to go out. And I'm like, well, I need something to do with my time. So I was like, well, let's just try starting making some YouTube videos, because I wanted to learn just that skill set for my clients as is. And yeah, just kind of, it started taking off where I noticed that nobody was doing videos. I mean, there's a lot of toy videos, obviously, on YouTube.
Yeah.
Mostly a lot of reviews, a lot of toy hunting, that kind of thing. But no one was really doing videos about the toy industry and how it works. And while there's some things I can't talk about that I know are proprietary to the companies I've worked for, and I would never break that, there's other things that are universal to the process, like how an action figure is made. The way Hasbro makes an action figure, or Jakks or Mattel, or NECA, it's all the same process with tooling and overseas development. And so that's basically why I started making videos kind of just about the process that was universal without giving away any trade secrets, if you will, like production numbers. And
wait, so are you saying you know who Batman really is?
yes,
you know his secret identity?
His name is Bruce. He lives in a cave. He's a little wacky.
I was gonna say, maybe tonight we can eke out some of those trade secrets from you. All right. So just to get things started, later, Scott, you'll be telling us more about how you got into the toy industry and how you stayed, and actually now putting up your own toy company. All right. Hold on. Something's wrong with my camera. I gotta fix that. All right. This is an exciting journey that we'd like to hear more about. So please do stay on the show because we're going to be introducing one more person on our lineup for tonight. All right, we'll check you back later, Scott. Enjoy your coffee. There you go. But we got to bring back in the show. Well, actually, he hasn't come on yet, but I did tell you a little bit about him, about how he started off his toy business with Halimao Sculptures, but is now the guy behind legendary Beast Studios. All right, so please welcome on the show Jay Sia. Hello, Jay.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Jay. How are you doing?
Hi, we lost you for a while. Good to have you, Jay.
Can you hear me?
Yep,
yes, you're coming in loud and clear. All right, and in the background there, we can actually see your creations, or at least two of them.
Thank you.
From legendary
Actually,
Beast Studios.
That's
just the
Juggernaut.
three. Even there you go. There's a Juggernaut there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. And,
all right.
Captain America, Thor. I mean, two of the classic Avengers there. And just over your left shoulder, there's a bearded gentleman as well. Who's that?
That's Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, okay.
Nice,
actually, it's a prototype we're doing for we're doing silicon projects. Yeah.
Okay.
Later, maybe I could show it to you. Yeah.
For sure. Yes, we can. Go with a close up of that. All right. So Jay, as I mentioned, you've been with TOYCON for quite a while, quite a long time already. We actually saw you rise up from your very humble beginnings as a toy customizer. You started out as a toy customizer, and then you got into producing, original sculpts. What was the turning point for you? What happened in your career which made you feel or believe that you could actually come up with your own product line?
Well, actually, when I started the hobby. I started just meeting up friends, and of course Dave Loose Collector. Actually, it's our team. Our team up. Joined TOYCON custom events, and winning from that event actually made me more into toy collecting. But after some time, I need to change. When you're a collector, you always change from one collection to another. So when I move up and when started collecting statues, and then I'm a completist. When I started, when I start a line, I always make sure I complete those lines. So what happened? I'm looking for a Juggernaut, and no one is selling it, and very, very hard for me to get it. So what I did sometime, I think a few months after I started collecting statues, someone approached me. I think he offered me if I could, help him on his statue making. Actually, that's Joseph Mahusay. He's very good. We partnered together and started doing statues that I don't have. And then from that, I started from statue to fan art maker, statue maker, and then from that I move up, and from doing my own concept, and then eventually if you're doing your own concept and people are like, they like your works, they tend to, oh, Jay, where'd you get that? So from that, I started doing a few fun arts. But after some time, you level up, eh? You level up. You always dream for a bigger one. So fortunately, I had the chance to get the license for the local, Darna, and then the
Right.
Darna, Captain
Combatron,
Barbell.
yeah, Captain Barbell, and then later on, I had the chance with teaming up with XM, and then we had this license for 1/3 scale. So that's the 1/3 scale. Yeah.
Okay.
The
Okay.
statues. Wow.
Yeah.
And this is really the crowd drawer. I'm pretty sure you've seen some of these statues, Brett, in TOYCON.
Oh yeah.
Just the
Yep.
sheer
Yeah.
quality of it, just the sculpt and the paint. It's
Yeah.
amazing. You actually put us up there on a level with some of the other companies that produce
Yeah.
for Sideshow or some of these other statue
Yeah.
companies. So we're so very proud of you, Jay, and we're
Thank you.
excited to
Thank you.
see what's in store for Legendary Beast Studio. All right, so we'll have you back
Yeah.
on the show later on, Jay.
Yeah.
Just take a break because we are going to be
Sure.
going into the main part of the show, which is uh, how our three guests will tell us more about, I guess, their journey as uh, people from the industry. People who know the ins and outs of the industry from the very first sketch to I guess sitting on the board deciding on which toys gets to be made. The things that we are not privy to, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are interested in. So hang on to your seats because this is going to be very exciting. And do save your questions. Later on, we're going to be having a free for all Q&A. So you can actually ask your questions to our three guests who are with us tonight on this episode. All right, Brett, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go for it.
All right, let's bring back in Emiliano Santalucia, all the way in Palermo, Italy, to tell us a little bit more about his own story as a toy designer, toy creator. All right, take it away, Emiliano. It's all yours.
Thank you. Okay, I prepared a little presentation, just a few images to go around with my story. I'll give you just a chronological history of what took me here where I am right now. I wanted to be comic book artist. That's what really pushed me towards this the art industry in general. And but as any child, I love toys. The thing is, toys took with me in a way. Like I never left toys. I wasn't playing with them anymore, but I kept collecting and buying. And my love was Masters of the Universe. And my dream was to do Masters of the Universe comics. And when I got in the comic book school, my project for the last year was a He-Man comic book. And that comic book I did for school eventually led me to be hired to be the artist on the relaunch of the He-Man brand as a comic book artist for the series that was launched by MV Creation under Image Comics. And the next, the first slide in my presentation is the first cover I did for the first issue of Masters of the Universe. And I worked on Masters of the Universe comic for, I think, 3 years, from 3 to 4 years. It was not really a very long run. The line was successful at the beginning, the entire line, I mean the toy. But it quickly fade out. It didn't work as everybody hoped. So we closed the comic along with the cartoon and the toy line. But I kind of stuck into the toy-related comic books and worked on G.I. Joe comics and Transformers comics too. And the next step was interesting because of my and my friends' common knowledge about Masters of the Universe got us hired as illustrator and consultant for the DVD release of Masters of the Universe and She-Ra. That was incredible because we got to know a lot of the people involved with the creation of the original He-Man cartoon. So Lou Scheimer and Tom Zito, Tom Tatarovitz, a lot of the directors. It was an amazing time. And all this time, I was still in touch with the toy studio designer that were behind the 2002 He-Man toys, Four Horsemen, which were Eric Treadaway, Eric Cornboy Mazie, Jim Preziosi, and Chris DeHalbert. And by visiting their studio and talking with them, I started to learn something about how you actually make toys. And I love that part of the process. And I started sketching my designs for He-Man characters. What was interesting was that when they were working for Masters of the Universe Classic, which is the line that Scott launched for Mattel Collector, and he'll talk about it later on. I started doing like ideas and designs for the Four Horsemen on the side. It was just, sometimes was my suggestion, sometimes they needed help with some character. And like on the next slide, there is one of the example of these designs. Like I was thinking, okay, what She-Ra could look like in this line. So I made my suggestion to them, what parts to reuse, what new parts need to be sculpted, how to portray She-Ra as a He-Man toy and make her closer to the cartoon, which is the most known representation of She-Ra, but keeping it in line with the detailed version of the Masters of the Universe Classic line. And sometime I helped in the next slide. There is an example of something that the Four Horsemen actually asked me to do. We were working on a pitch for some new items for Mattel. So they were going to do a Shadow Beast figure using a back they created for DC line. Eventually, they ended up resculpting it entirely. And I suggested to do a Geiger figure, which was based on a never-produced Masters of the Universe prototype from the original line. And, this was all fun for me. But at one point, I started thinking, why don't try to pursue a career in the toy industry as a designer? Because I enjoy doing this. And I brought these designs. There were many more. I had a portfolio. And in 2009, I was introduced to one of the designer at Hasbro, John Warden, which looked at my portfolio. And I was impressed. And right there, he hired me. He got me hired at Hasbro as a freelance, of course. And eventually, I started doing stuff for him. And my name was passed around Hasbro by other designers and by him. And I started getting more and more work from Hasbro. And basically by 2 years, that was my full-time job. And I realized that that's exactly what I wanted to do for a living. And I never wanted to go back to comics or anything else. It was just wonderful to do toys. So what was the line I was involved with more over this year? On the next slide, you'll see that the line I was more involved was Transformers. Almost immediately. Some of the other designer, Bill Rowley and Aaron Archer, that was the lead designer on the Transformers brand back then. They asked me if I could draw Transformers, and I sent them a few pages of the comic book I did and showed them, yeah, I can do robots. And also because of the background as an Italian where robots were very popular, I always drawn robots and loved robots. So I started working on the Transformers line and got more and more involved. This is not one of the first pieces, but this is a good place to start explaining what my job is when I design Transformers. I'm involved in various stages. I'm just a tiny wheel of the process, to be honest, because toys are made by a lot of people. I help visualize the concept of a line. This image in particular is a presentation for Combiner Wars, when the designer and the marketing team pitch the idea to the management of the company. So, okay, we're going to do Combiner Wars. We're going to bring back Combiner robots like Superion and all the other Combiner that were in the original Transformers line, and we're going to do them in Generation. And my job was there to visualize the story behind it. So they give me certain points, and they want something specific for an image that can be used as a poster to promote internally the line. And that is super cool, because that's where I can stretch my skills as an illustrator more than a designer. But I also have to incorporate a vision of the new toys. Not necessarily what is going to be produced, just the idea of what we want to do. And on the next slide, you'll see different example of this process. On the right, we have Megatron that when we were exploring ideas and concepts for what became Transformers Prime. So we were exploring different styles. I was working with Eric Siebenaler, which is an awesome designer that was working back then at Hasbro. And I was painting again, because in the comic industry, I only got to pencil. But here I was able to work again with colors and learning new techniques. That was fantastic for me. It was what also was exciting about doing this kind of work, because it was not always the same process. Every time I got to do something new. And on the left, you have the concept we did for Alpha Trion in Prime Wars. And it's very different from what was produced, but this was when, no, it was Titan Return, sorry, it was not Prime Wars. So there weren't even the concept of the Titan Master, so the new version of the Headmaster in that line. When I did the sketch, it was more like Beast Wars. But it was great. We had to figure out a new transformation for him. So that my job there was to create a new idea of the character, being mindful and respectful of the character, of how the character was known to the fans and how the character was portrayed in the brand before. So taking all the visuals that were known, all the shape vocabulary, as we call it, and enhance it and use that shape vocabulary right to portray a character and keep it recognizable while new and exciting for the fans. So, of course, I wasn't always aware that was my job. I learned in the process that what my mind learned to do all these years. And on the next one, we have one of the more finished designs I did. Eventually, I got to do actual product design, even if this wasn't a full turnaround, a full sculpting input. This was pretty much what was produced, even if it was just a three-quarter sketch. What happened in this case that we were working off the mold of Ultra Magnus, and so I had to adapt Ultra Magnus as Power Master Optimus Prime. It was going to be my first produced Optimus Prime, so I was very excited. And it was also one of the toy, I didn't have it when I was a kid, but I got it and I loved this vintage, big, boxy guy that was Power Master Optimus. So I tried to convey the same feeling in this new version. And it was great. It was great fun. It was a great honor to come up with this. And Takara took this design and translated almost verbatim in the final toy. So I was very excited when it came out. Like almost every detail was there. Another example on the next one, this was still part of Generation, but is when we were trying to do some of the Beast Wars figures and bring back some of the toy of the cartoon version of the character and mix it with a more enhanced design from the toy, which also worked along the line of how the Generations line was portraying the characters back then. And again, Takara did a wonderful job translating this sketch into one of the most amazing figures. They did it with Waspinator and Rhinox and Rat Trap, which are the 3 figures that we did. And I still see them displaying them when they have the new Masterpiece Transformers for Beast Wars. They display them with these figures. And so it's a testament that the work they did was so good that they felt almost like masterpiece figures. On the next one, it's a bit small, but I think you can see the process here. It's a different kind of process where I conceptualize the idea. This was for War for Cybertron Siege Shockwave. And I was asked to conceptualize this new version of Shockwave as Starship. And the Starship parts could be taken off the figure and handed back in robot mode to create like a super-powered robot mode of Shockwave. From that stage, because the look of the figure was going to be very close to the original, they didn't need a new concept for the entire figure, so they went off the masterpiece they already did, the most iconic version of Shockwave. But then there was this request of enhancing this figure and adding a lot of details, make them very realistic. So what they gave to me were photos of the prototypes, the gray model, as they called. And I went back and started drawing all these tiny details on the figures. And again, I was amazed to see that Takara took these sketches that were very intricate and added all these details to the final figures. And I know people loved. And Oi Bennett is asking if that was a part of the design. You mean like the little sled that he can ride on? I guess that's what you're talking about. No, I think that was Hasbro idea or Takara ideas later on. They took all these pieces and say, okay, when can we? What else can we do with these parts when he's not wearing them as in robot mode? And they created this little sled, and he could basically stand on it and flying around. Sorry, I accidentally missed my microphone. That was something that came later on. I think it was decided on Hasbro. It wasn't part of this original design. And then moving on, most recently, I mean, it was almost a year ago, more than a year ago, actually, a year and a half. I got asked to work on Unicron, and it was like the biggest project I was involved with as toy designer for Generation. You know, Unicron was a crowdfunded project by HasLabs, and it met its goal. It was funded, and it will ship sometime this year, I think, later on in autumn or winter. And again, wow, that was a great job to be involved with. I was involved in creating the concept of the figure, the look of the figure, because they already had worked out the transformation. So in this one and the next slide, you can see the concept work I did for him. And it had to be part of the Siege line. So I had to do all these tiny details on the surface of the figure, but such a bigger scale. So I mean, it took me a long time to create this, but the awesome guys at Takara recreated this perfectly, and the final figure is fantastic. We did other detail on it. We did also a third mod that was, I think it was shared by Hasbro, so it's fine to talk about. There was a city mode where there was you could transform it into sort of base with parts from the cartoon in it, but that third mod was discarded probably due to the complexity of this project, because something this big that transform use a lot of tooling. So probably a third model will make the price even higher and make it much more difficult to find. But Hasbro, I did a lot of other things. I didn't work only on Transformers. I worked on a lot of Iron Man stuff and Spider-Man and Avengers. I work on Monopoly a lot, which is very fun. We do tokens for new Monopoly concept. I don't know if anything has been released yet, but we did a lot of concept for Monopoly. And then we develop a lot of stuff. Sometimes it gets released, sometimes not. So unfortunately, I can't talk about the stuff that hasn't been released. We explore new brand, a whole brand. We try to figure out how to bring back old stuff all the time. It's very fun. It's a fun ride. But also, I happen to work with other companies. For example, I worked with Pop Culture Shock collectible with Jerry Macaluso. He involved me again with Masters of the Universe after a long time, and I worked on the Masters of the Universe statues. On the next slide, I brought this concept of the Tila statue. It should be on the next slide. As soon as she appears, I'll talk. Okay, thank you. We were working on this line. There were faithful representation of the cartoon. At that time, Masters of the Universe Classic hadn't got to the Club Grayskull portion where the figure were very close to the cartoon. But when we did the statue, I asked it specifically to do something that nobody had done before. Let's do cartoon version of the characters. So with each character, we explore what was the most iconic pose, what accessories we should bring in it, what the environment for the base should look like, so we could really play around the character. And after the first concept, we could play with different concepts. And on the next slide, you can see the final design for the statue. So I did a turnaround that the sculptor was given to work with. And I think, man, we were very happy. She was powerful but feminine. We added accessories that she had in the show. The training robots she was fighting for in one episode, parts of the Royal Palace. It was all part of the process. What is the best representation of the character? And we brought in all the stuff. And also, one new thing I did on this job that you can see on the next slide is that I got to art direct too. And I was probably a pain in the neck for the sculptor because I was very, very particular about every detail of the toy, of the statue. It has to be very, very very, very, very close to the cartoon. It has to be perfect. So I had to basically train the sculptor into get away with the most realistic stuff and try to really convey the simple shape of the cartoon. That was fun. I mean, it was not immediately easy to do. We got in the right mood eventually with more and more statues we did, but it was interesting. I hope I didn't annoy the sculptor too much. And I mean, other things happened along the way. I was involved with one of them. I was mentioning that in Italy we grew up with Japanese cartoons and Mazinger and Grandizer, and so I was very honored when Bandai asked me to do a new version of Mazinger. On the next slide, you will see a turnaround of this figure that we developed. It was a signature line called Tamashi Mix. They were bringing in artists to create their own vision of different characters. They did Mega Man and Godzilla and Gundam. And I was asked to do Gonagai characters. I mean, there were specific requests. They had seen some of my more cartoons versions of He-Man, and they asked me to do a Mazinger in that style. And we developed an entire line of this figure. There was Kotetsu Jig, there was Getter Robo, there was Grandizer, and Guretto Mazinga. Unfortunately, the line didn't go well. No, it wasn't released. It wasn't realized. It didn't go ahead and wasn't produced. Because of different factors. Many times it happens in the toy industry. We work on something and it doesn't get produced. It never reached the shelves. It's a harsh reality. I would say a big percentage of what you draw doesn't get created. But fortunately, I did this in my senior years of being a toy designer. So while I was very invested in this line, it didn't hurt me too much that we didn't get to do it. I know it was part of the game, but still, that I got to do a new design for Mazinger, that was awesome already. So it's I'm happy just with that. And also, fortunately, I got back to my old love, Masters of the Universe again, thanks to Brock Otterbaker that worked with Mondo for a while and got me on Masters of the Universe again with their 12-inch figure line. On the next slide, you can see the design I did for the man-at-arms for their line, which is basically they're selling it right now on the Mondo shop.com. And I was brought in after the line started. Brock had faith in me and say, okay, you're gonna do the design for the other characters of this line. And I was fortunate to work with a lot of other cool designers, sculptor and art director at Mondo. And I'm very, very proud of the work we did so far on these figures. I was given a lot of freedom on them and to bring everything I wanted to do on Masters of the Universe, and I'm very happy of the result on this. I hope we'll continue to do more. Fans seem to be very happy with Man-at-Arms and Merman and the Hordak that they teased out, which are all collaborated too. So of course, it's Masters of the Universe. It's my first love, and I love doing them. And just before we finish this, some of the other stuff I do other than toy design. Sometimes I'm lucky enough to do also packaging design. On the next slide, you'll see some of the stuff I did for Hasbro recently. I did the packaging for Ectotron and for Gigawatt, which are a Transformers crossover with Ghostbusters and Back to the Future. And probably because of my love of the vintage stuff, I was asked to create illustration that looked like the old Transformers illustrations, the vintage artwork, airbrushed artwork that appeared on the packaging. And of course, this is digital. It's not. I'm not able to use an airbrush, but I tried to make it almost like it was done with a real airbrush. So same stuff, same masking, a digital brush that looked like a real airbrush, and even trying to incorporate some rough brushes to make some mistakes here and there on purpose, so they didn't look too perfect. And you can always spot like that they were hand-on somehow, even yellowing a bit the white, so they look like printed on paper. Well, painted on paper, not really like that digital white. I know it's a bit technical, but it's how I approached this kind of job. And on the next one, when I worked with Super 7 on their vintage line packaging, among the other things I was tasked with were creating the cross-cell art for the figures, like in the vintage Masters of the Universe line. On the back, you had this tiny painted figure, which originally were like this big, a little bigger than a real figure. They were done with the acrylic painting, I think. And again, had to redo that digitally. I studied the original paintings close and see what the brushes were, the brush strokes were like. And I tried to reproduce that and the same feeling for this cross-cell art. It was a lot of fun doing them. It was great. I also helped at Super 7 redoing the packaging, the original packaging, and the original packaging for Hero and Heldor, which were figures that were never released in the 80s, but we brought them back and recreated the packaging that they were meant to come in. Thanks to my collector from my friend collector from the Power and Honor Foundation, which is something that we'll probably talk better later on because I'm probably running late here. And the other thing I wanted to mention about what I do is I do, thanks to Hasbro, I also worked on the Transformers movies. On the next couple of slides, you'll see some of the work I did for the Transformers movie. I worked with Aaron Archer and then with John Warden, creating concepts and sometimes even character arts for the Transformers movies. On the Hasbro side, we suggest stuff for the movie. And boy, that was scary at first, jumping from just doing design for toys to concept for the movie industry. But they encouraged me to try, and I say, yeah, why not? Let's try. And this was for Transformers 3, Dark of the Moon. And the next one was for Age of Extinction, when we were introducing the Dinobots. So this stuff is very intricate. A lot of work goes into them. Sometimes you have to do them in 3 hours, 4 hours. It's interesting, but it's so cool to see this stuff. And sometimes you see ideas of these that reach the movie screen, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic seeing them and doing them because you experiment a lot as an artist when doing that. And yeah, that's a very quick rundown of what I do for a living, what I enjoy doing it, other than being a collector, as many of you. And I'll be happy to answer as many questions I can later in the show. I hope I didn't bore you too much.
Wow, Emiliano. I can't count the times when I was doing this. Just going, wow. It started off with your She-Ra designs, and then the Unicron is just absolutely fantastic. And then
you're worried if you're going to bore us too much, and you're just coming out with more and more and more that jaws are dropping. And no, don't worry about boring us. Yes, more like that, please.
Yeah. It's just I think one of the comments that we read earlier was that the creative process that you actually go through, from probably just from a blank sheet of paper or from a blank screen to whatever comes out after. It must be something that I don't know, just fulfills you, I guess, in a different level. Maybe my just to kick off a question, what do you feel when you see your creations, come to life, in a manner of speaking, developed into a fully 3D product, or seeing them up on the big screen? What's the feeling like?
Most of the time is surprise, because well, at first it was literally surprising because I didn't know they were doing them. It was an Iron Man armor, like not like an exosuit. So it was the Iron Man figure in his armor, and then he was wearing another exosuit. And
like a Hulkbuster.
Yeah, sort of. It was more like an exoskeleton. It was not a full suit. I think I don't remember.
So you did one? You had one for the movie?
No, it was off the movie. Like
All
the
right,
movie
right.
that came out, Iron Man was popular, and we started doing more toys. I think it was with Chris Oliveri. I think I did
Oh,
this
we
one.
should take note of this comment here. Shape vocabulary must be the phrase of
Yeah,
the day.
it's true. We use that. You know, when you have recurring shapes, like, oh, this guy has a lot of rounded things around, and you try to reuse that, or it has hexagonal shapes. So that's kind of what shape vocabulary is. So going back to Iron Man,
Yeah,
we did this
Iron Man.
design for this exosuit for him and Captain America, and I didn't know they were coming out. I saw prototype at Hasbro when I visited the office, but you know, as many other
Wow.
things I worked on, nothing came out. And then I was visiting a Toys R Us in US during one of my visits, and I found them. They were sitting there, and I didn't know anything about that. So it was very surprising. And yeah, the surprise is there is a note of surprise always there, because I see the stuff and I say, actually, I work on that stuff. I like it's weird that you see lines on the toys or shapes on the toys and realize it's something that comes from your mind, but somebody else took that and modeled it. Modeled it in a CAD software or sculpted it and then painted the stuff you painted on the screen and painted on the figure. I mean, you get used eventually to it, but there is that element of surprise all the time.
On the Transformers toys, it must be incredibly difficult, because not only do you have to worry about what the character looks like in its humanoid form, but also what will it look like in its transformed form. But your sketch has to, without knowing how it's going to transform, what pieces are going to fit where. How do you work that out with the toy companies?
Right.
Because looking at the drawing you had from She-Ra, you could easily point out, oh, these are where the ball joints are for the hips. These are where the front hair pieces are going to be slotted in. But for the Transformers, anything goes.
Yeah, well,
you gotta be an engineer.
Yeah, exactly. The Transformers needs an entire other skill set, which I don't have. And I'm lucky, because with Transformers, we don't need, as a designer, we don't need, at least freelance designer, we don't need to worry about that. They just have to come up with the look of the figure, and they figure out the transformation. They are so good that they can take whatever you do and make it transform. Like when they were doing Transformers animated, I was blown away by their ability to take those designs that were absolutely not meant to be real stuff. You know, they were very stylized. They had a lot of characters like Bulkhead and Prowl and even Bumblebee and Optimus. They were not meant to be real solid 3D objects, but they were translated in 3D objects, and they were able to transform. So every time I'm given something, don't worry too much about it transforms. We'll take care of it. So that makes my job a lot easier. But I try to be conscious of a transformation. Like, I always try to incorporate parts of the alt mode or the beast mode, so that they have a cue of what to do when they have to figure out the transformation. And of course, I try to also not make parts moving from a location to another that is going to be impossible to achieve. Even if, I mean, they can do that too. So, I mean, there is a level of consciousness when you do a Transformers. And sometimes it happened that I had to figure out small things. I have some of this stuff here.
Yes, show us your toys.
See, I had this little guy. This is from, I think it's Titan's Return. This little guy here.
Nice.
It is, I mean, I designed the look, but I also tried to figure out how it transformed. With I was one of the Titan Master figure with the Titan Master little guy that could transform into the head. But also one of the other feature in this low price point figure, because these were very cheap, was to try to incorporate the figure into the alt mode. So the figure was able to ride the beast in this one, but also became part of the alt mode. And what I suggested, and they made it even better, and what I suggested was to make the figure part of the alt mode, making his leg become. Now I'm not going to transform it perfectly here. I know I'm not going to do that because I think it's like this. Yes, the arms of the figure became the arms of the dinosaur. Like this. And this way. And the legs, now it's not perfect here, but the legs were meant to become the jaw of the dinosaur.
Yeah.
Like this.
Okay.
So you had the figure completed the alt mode for this one. So sometimes I get to do this stuff too. I mean, I merely suggest it, and then they find a way to actually make it happen.
I guess it's a whole different experience, designing for toys as opposed to, artists who probably just draw for comic books. I'm pretty sure, you've experienced both worlds, drawing for comic books, drawing designs for toys. Particularly for the toy fans, if who've been admiring your work, Christoph here has really been very, very articulate with his admiration.
Yeah.
But anyway, what do you think should be the design, the skill set that should be with a toy designer in order for them to be able to sell their work, as you have, for the big toy companies, what is it that you probably developed from being a comic book artist, slowly becoming a designer? What is a particular skill set that you feel was added on so that you can become a successful toy designer?
Well, I think specifically for me, because I don't have a product design background, but I started as an artist, I think there were two things for me that worked very well for me. One was that I'm a toy collector, and I like it to understand how toys are done. So observing toys, understanding how they're done. So when I design something, I'm conscious of how it needs to be produced, how it needs to work. So there is that knowledge. Of course, I had a lot of that knowledge along the years working in the toy industry. You learn a lot that you didn't know before. But there was this skill that I had. Well, it was not really a skill. It was something I developed. It's the ability to observe the toys and understand them. It's something that I guess everybody that pays attention can develop. I don't think it's something that you need to have when you were born. And the other thing was to really understand the characters you're working with. Really know them deeply. And of course, there are characters that I know better. There are characters that I know less. I knew Transformers, but I wasn't well-versed in Transformers as I am with Masters of the Universe. I always quote this thing that I said to Mark Taylor, which is the person that most of everybody else has contributed to the creation of He-Man. And I was with him in his studio, and I told him that I know the He-Man character as they were a real person. They are my buddies. I know they are friends. I know them inside out, and that what helps me when I draw He-Man characters. It's like I'm drawing people that I know. And to a certain level, I try to do that, to understand the characters. And if I do Mazinger, I have to understand what works for Mazinger, who's Koji, who's Sayaka, who are all the characters in the lore. What makes, what is visually also important for the silhouette of a character or for the detail of the character. That's even their observation and paying attention is very important, and make all the stuff yours.
I love it. Your answer is very meta, but it's very it makes sense. It makes sense to us who know our toys, who know them as characters, who grew up with them, and just treating them as friends. Because having them in toy form, I guess, is the value of it. The value is not just the material value of it, but the fact that it is something that is connected to you somehow.
Yeah.
So being observant, being sensing that relationship that you have with the characters, I guess it's a very good sense for a designer to have. Great.
Well, and being a fan, first of all, being a fan from when you're a kid, you know the DNA of the character.
Yes,
you know what they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to do. And as you become an adult and you start asking adult questions about what a kid's character should be, and then you realize, you're lucky enough to realize that, hey, the characters A, B, and C will do X, Y, and Z in these situations.
Yes.
And whether you're doing the comic book or whether you're doing the sketch or the statue, the Tila statue is a perfect example. Using the training robots, as just one of the backgrounds, a fan will catch that. A fan will understand that.
And I love that Tila statue. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Other people may see it as a small throwaway, but it's what we grew up with. It's
right.
Yeah.
It's the detail that you look out for.
Even if you don't remember a certain thing specifically, because you grew up with that and you experienced that, you don't have a precise memory, but you have a perception of the character. And if you push the right buttons, the person that may not recall all the details, they will you will find the right way to his memories, and that will help sell the product at the end.
Right. Great. Later on during our Q&A, Emiliano will bring in a friend of yours, also a friend of the show. We'll bring in Alfred Alcala, the son of an artist that I know you're very familiar with, Alfredo Alcala. You're going to show us something later on, because Alfredo was very instrumental in the creation of He-Man. He's a Filipino, and we know him as one of our legacy artists. We'll bring in Alfred later on for the Q&A, but we'll let you have a break. Thank you so much for sharing with us your toy design sensibilities and also your upcoming toys. A lot of people are excited over that Unicron. My God, I just gotta have me one of those. All right. Thank you, Emiliano. All right. Thank you. All right. We'll have you back later on for more Q&A. All right, Brett, let's move on with our next guest. A lot of people excited to know, how he got where he is now, and of course, what's in store for him. Where is he bringing his company? Particularly that it's proudly Filipino-owned and managed, and how proud we are in TOYCON of anything and everything that comes out of our country. It's part of what makes us TOYCON. Just putting forward the best of what the Filipino craftsmen and Imagineers can put up. So let's welcome on the show. I hope he's ready. Let's welcome back on the show, Mr. Jay Sia, to talk about the legendary Beast Studio. Hi, Jay. All right.
Hi, Jay.
So we're excited to find out, what you have in store for us. A lot of your local fans and even your international fans who are tuned in are excited to find out what legendary Beast Studios has in store. All right. So take it away.
This is my say. All right. Okay. Hey guys, JC here of Legendary Beast Studios and Halimo Sculptures. First, thank you to TOYCON Philippines for inviting me to be one of your guests here. I've been a supporter of TOYCON since day one, And every year, I always make sure that I won't miss it. Glad you made me sure I won't miss it this time. So thank you much. Thank you so much, Vic, Cholo, and all the TOYCON team. So to give you an idea of how I started this hobby, um, this hobby started as just stress relief, and then eventually it turned into a business. Well, like most collectors, I'm one of the few kids deprived of toys during my childhood days. My father doesn't want me to play toys, and he wanted us to focus on our business, family business. So we hid our toys when my mom is buying it. So I think that was I was 6 years old at the time. And the next toy I had is after 3 years, when my lola, which is working in Hong Kong that time, will bring a pasalubong to us when he visit Manila. So I was, was jealous on kids that has new toys, because imagine I don't have much toys, just one or two, and that's it. So instead of having a self pity, I was just focused myself in reading comics. Unfortunately, that time, Marvel comics, you can buy that only in Green Hills, or some specialty stores. So what I did is, instead of buying Marvel and DC comics, when you go out of the school, you can buy Filipino comics. So Filipino comics, Funny Comics, um, Thriller, Hiwaga, and the Halimaw comics. So that was the 80s. No? 80s, talagang sikat ang mga comics nun. Yun yung mga nakakatakot, mga horror. So I started collecting them and keep them in my closet. Unfortunately, my mother sold them as a scrap sa mga kumukuha ng mga dyaryo bote, because it's too many. I think that's around 4 boxes. She said na nakatambak lang, and I'm keeping those actually as part of my collections, because that time I don't have na Marvel comics eh. So unfortunately, nabenta ng nanay ko. So siya, being a true collector, I found another item to collect, which is wrestling and Marvel trading cards. So, that drives my interest on superheroes, because knowing their powers, history, so I got the idea, ganito pala sila. So from that, nag-start na akong magkaroon ng interest sa mga superheroes. And so moving forward, when I had a work already and has extra money, I started collecting Lord of the Rings. You can see in the screen. So after I watched Lord of the Rings, I want to complete the whole line. So dahan-dahan, I started collecting LOTR characters, and then eventually, after I collected LOTR, I started collecting Marvel Legends. Okay, so in one of my inquiry, actually, doon ko na-meet si Cholo. In one of my inquiry, I was inquiring on Venom, and he said, actually, he emailed me, sent me an email, and with all the list of his action figures that's for sale. And one of them actually is Venom and Hulk. And when I open his email, he has this link of PTK. So itong PTK, that's Pinoy Toy Collector, I don't know what is that. So sabi ko, sige, I click and I joined. So when I joined it, nabigla ako, dahil palang collectors who has the same passion as me. Kala ko, ako lang yung isip bata eh, that time. Kasi nga wala akong laruan nung bata ako. So, hindi pala ako nag-iisa. Marami pala kaming mga, hindi pala ba hindi pala mga isip bata, kundi kid at heart lang. Yan, kid at heart. So, from that, lalo pinagtibay ng slogan yung PTK, yung passion ko, knowing na yung slogan nila, this is not a toy mom, but a collectible. So from that made my collecting more exciting. Okay? So along the way, I met a lot of people during trades and sales ng mga figures. So made a weekly meetup with the collectors and now famous customizers and toy figure makers. So that's Dave, Luz Collector, Rad, Upper Tander, Mark Wincheng. si Ruel Amigo Panizares, and a lot of people to name. Marami kami nun eh. So nag-start kami mga, I think, 5 or 4, and then eventually it grew up to 50, 30, 60, 70, hanggang lumaki na. Hanggang lumaki na yung grupo namin. We call it Chowking Assembly. Kasi sa Chowking, doon kami nagmi-meet up. And then from that meet up every week, napupuno namin yung second floor, puro laruan lang ang bitbit namin. Pero wala namang umo-order. Walang umo-order ng kahit siopaw man lang, walang umo-order. Nandun lang kami nagmi-meet up. We spend like 1-2 hours exchanging, trading toys, figures. Si Dave magpapakita ng mga bago niyang customs. So nandun lahat, discussion, and that makes actually toy collecting exciting. Kaya nung every TOYCON, yun ang pinakaabangan namin eh. Magkita-kita kami, magkakasama kaming grupo. And proud kami sa inilalaban ni Dave na customs, na custom figure, na lagi naman nananalo. So from that, tuloy-tuloy kami. So Dave and I work on together sa mga TOYCON event, yung mga customs na yan, yung mga action figures. And that time, nag-move up ako sa 12-inch eh. So I want to complete the whole 12-inch. Yung Marvel icons. And from, after some time, pagka nag-ano ka na doon sa level ng statue mo na maliliit na figures, and eventually you move up, and then you move up. Next slide. So from that, I moved into statue collecting, which I met Joseph Mahusay of art department. You can see this sa slide. No, the back slide, please. You can see this, yung grupo kami, yun yung mga bagito pa kami, mga bata pa kami dyan. Yung start kami Chowking, and then eventually nag-move up kami to malls sa Cubao, Gateway. Yan, diyan kami nagmi-meet up. Padami na kami ng padami yan. And then I moved into statue collecting. Actually, Joseph Mahusay, we partnered, and he helped me understand the statue making and everything. So I owe a lot to Joseph Mahusay. So we made a few statues back then. Then eventually, I partnered with Rad and Mark Cheng, and we named the group Halimaw Collectibles. So we've done a lot of great stuff back then. Halimaw is a local slang for expression showing amazement. Sa mga hindi nagtatanong pala, nagtataka bakit halimaw. Halimaw kasi expression niya na, wow, maganda. So, kami ni Dave kasi, ni Luz Collector, kami yung fan kami ng yung we don't settle for less. Lagi kaming always the best. Lagi kaming gusto namin, yung ginagawa namin laging best of the best. So, that's been our inspiration together. So, with Rad and Mark Gwyn, nag-move up kami, and then our work is really amazing. Kaya lang along the way, nagkakaroon ng kanya-kanyang interest, and we pursue our own passions in our own styles. Si Rad, nagkaroon siya ng sarili niya, yung Pearl Thunder. Then si Mark, nagkaroon ng sarili niya, yung customizing ng mga Funko Pop. And then ako, I continue doing my own line. Pero yung line ko na yun kasi more like collections lang eh. I do collections, or I do, fan art statues as part of my collections. Pag hindi ako interested, I don't really do it. And actually, during my PTK times, isa sa mga really, yung I owe a lot is Sir Dan Castro. So during my time, Sir Dan Castro supported me all throughout eh. So alam ko yung that time parang hindi ako napapansin, and sabi niya, go, I'll support you. So Sir Dan, thank you. Halimaw is nothing and Legendary Beast nothing. Hindi mo kami sinuportahan during back days. So along the way, next slide. Okay. Along the way, tuloy-tuloy lang kami. We done a lot of things, and we done a lot of fan art statues. Then eventually, when you're doing good statues na known locally and internationally, nag-aano ka na eh, nagle-level up ka na. You're trying to get a license. You're trying to make something legit. So that went for me to get the license for local superheroes like Darna, Combatron. Ito you can see sa screen si Valentina, Captain Marvel, and Elastic Man. So paying license is a little medyo malaki ng gastos, but it's worth it. And doing a license thing is sa umpisa mahirap, but eventually it pays off. It pays off. So next slide. Kung makikita nyo yan, yung mga gawa namin yan, yung mga Darna. Yung Darna yan is photoed by Rafi Panganiban. Raf, thank you. And the other photo is done by Luis Ilustre. So great shots. So next slide. So these are the variation of Darna we did. So that's actually for the Darna 70 yata. So unfortunately, it was showcased last TOYCON. We plan to do it to highlight it this TOYCON sana, but hindi lang natuloy yung TOYCON event. Hopefully next year. So that's the TOYCON that we did, the Darna that we did. So that's actually 4 variation. So one is the attack mode, flying mode, then the Darna snake, and patriotic Darna with Philippine flag. Next slide. Yeah. So here, makikita nyo yung Darna ko, tinabi ko sa ibang collections ko. So it's like more girl power. Hindi na naglalayo ang gawang Pinoy sa gawang international. You can see naman, pati ganda ni Darna, lamang na rin. Sexy rin. Next slide. Yeah, you can see Liza Soberano posing for the launching ng Darna movie sana. Kaya lang, unfortunately, palitan siya ni Jane. So, sana next year or magkaroon na ng Darna movie. Okay, next slide. Yeah, and also here, you can see ABS-CBN contracted us to do concept designs for an actual life-size statues for their events. That's the TOYCON, Darna images na makikita niyo life-size sa TOYCON booth every year. Next slide. Yeah, so that's same lang, but with more focus. Next slide. And pretty proud na features sa actually nagulat ako nung nakita ko yan sa dyaryo. Nakakatawa lang. Something na when you see your works in a public, dyaryo, ganyan, parang yan. People are weird na magaganda yung artwork mo. Ilang naman yung mga natin bilang artist yung ma-recognize tayo Next slide. Yeah, next slide. Yeah. Okay. So on this one, with the getting the other one, balik mo na yung action figure. Yan. So mapapansin nyo, since we got the license for the statue for Darna, Captain Marvel, and Elastic Man, we also did collaboration with Deuce Collector, the first ever actually articulated action figures sa Pilipinas. Ito yung unang articulated na quality ng Marvel Legends. Makikita nyo, can we focus sa toy figure? And so maganda yung pagkakagawa, and I hope fans will be excited once na ma-release. So I think that gawa na to Actually, this is the box, Next month, baka pwede na siya for delivery. So this is the box. This is the actually prototype box. Can you see? Mati-check ba? Okay. Yan. So this is it. Okay. Di pa siya actual. Proto lang yan. Okay. Wait. Yan. Okay. And all right. This box design is done by HMT Studios. So Kate, Kevin, thank you for the Kate designs. All right. So next slide. So other than Darna, actually Darna is the 1950s. Since 1950s. So bata pa lang tayo, di pa nga tayo pinapanganak. Darna na yan. And then, for the millennials, I don't know, it's millennial, basta 90s. Ito naman yung sumikat, yung Combatron by Berlin Manalaysay. Hindi ko na siya nabutan sa Funny Comics or late na. Kasi that time, nag-ano na ako, nangongolekta na ako ng trading cards. But, these are sa followers also, yung Combatron. And this is the first time we did the figure sa vinyl. So maganda naman ang response ng tao and they're excited on it kasi Berlin is really happy na makita niya yung artwork niya sa as a action figure or toy figure. Actually, we will do another variation. Nakita ko lang Okay. Yeah. So this is the comic version we will do. So this will be very, very limited. And very limited yan. So that will be, I think we're planning to do less than 200 pieces. This is actually based on comics color na. Kasi yung ginawa namin isa is a little modern eh. So this one is comic. So yung mga Combatron fanatic, ayan na. Yan na yung inaabangan na comic version. Okay. So so along the way, we had other products na sa mga bigger companies that had commissioned us to do other than, this Covatron, this Darna. Next slide, you can see here na big companies like Vixie we did this collectible figures for them. Okay, next slide. Then we did this for a big company for their Chinese good luck giveaway for their companies. Next slide. And then we also did Manny Pacquiao life-size bust, life-size figure. Actually, this was for the last other TOYCON event. For one of the sponsors is Manny Pacquiao. So we did 3D designing and printing ng head. You can see we really captured the likeness. Mahirap kopyahin ng likeness ni Manny Pacquiao. A lot of people done it, pero talagang hirap. Fortunately, with my great team, we captured Manny. Actually, Manny Pacquiao allowed us to do a video of his face, his house, sa bahay nila, and he's very accommodating. He's very actually cool guy, cool senator. So next slide. If you can see, we did that. So we did the Manny Pacquiao statues. All right, next slide. So that one is displayed in his house. And that one is auctioned sa event ng TOYCON, toy convention. I forgot the name na. So next slide. So there's another photo with Manny, with Jinky and guest. All right, next slide. And then actually I was commissioned by a group of Coco Martin and Synergy 88 to do a Panday statue for Coco Martin. You can see dahil hindi sila nagbibigay masyadong info and we don't know how to do the sculptures. Out of nowhere naisip ko kasi na kami nag-design nitong may mga impacto na nasa ilalim ng paa ni Panday eh. So actually, when we gave this idea, natuwa naman si Coco and his team. So they actually get the idea para doon sa poster nila, sa movie poster nila. Diyan nila kinopya yung movie poster nila. Kasi nung una, medyo off eh. Parang Star Wars ang dating. And then, they saw that, and tapos binago nila yun. Nagkaroon sila ng parang botohan, and then that won. So from that, yung concept ko, naging movie poster, and then Coco Martin won. Ayun, so happy with it. Parang birthday gift nila yan eh. Next slide. So this one is the Darna for Ate B. that was actually made for fundraising for Mobile Fund the time. So we just made like 5 pieces of that. That's a little one, malaki yan, mga one-third scale yan eh. Yeah, okay, next slide. And then also we did the statue for Lou Ferrigno. Actually, he reached me out with friends of friends in the US. So we did those. Um, Actually, he displayed that sa kanyang mga gym. He ordered a few pieces. So he's so happy with it. Thank you, Lou. Okay. Lou Ferrigno is the original, is the first Hulk sa teleserye sa Amerika. All right. Thank you. Next slide. Okay, other than si Ruel helped me out doing projects with Soler. That's the Santa figures we did for Soler Resorts, Soler Casino, and actually they're happy with it. So it's like a Christmas giveaway for them. Right. Next slide. And then I remember this was I think 2012 for the upcoming movie Transformers featuring Grimlock and other Dinobots. So they asked us to do this for the movie launching. And you can see that's really big. We did it for just like 3 months. So this one is really very hard for us, Kasi doing it in 3 months, scaled, I need to stop every project. Plus, syempre, this is the first time we did the statue na sobrang laki. But, always accepting challenges eh. So, fortunately, maganda naman ang kinalabasan and you can see the details. It's really, really nice. Okay, so it's actually a team effort. Walang tulugan yan. So, glad masaya naman ang MOA SM for having that as displayed sa mall nila. And then eventually, next slide. Excuse me, nung nalaman nila na, oy, maganda yung gawa ko, ng team namin for Dinosaur, for the Grimlock, they commissioned us to do, if they asked us if we can do like that, no? Grand Festival Lights Parade. So, sabi ko nga, I always say, if they can do it, we can do it. So we just, we just need to understand how things work, how it is made, and we can do it. This is actually licensed Sanrio carousel, lighted carousel. So next slide, you can see the other works. So yung mga naka-attend ng light parades, you can see our works. Yeah. Ganda yan, maandar yan. So it's like every other day yata sa MOA, every Christmas. Pinara-ride yan. Next slide. Yan. So you see the Sanrio products. Okay, next slide. And then this one, actually, it's commissioned to us to do a life-size Jaren from a video game. Actually, dalawa yan. Isang kalaban, si Velskud, but I forgot to attach it. But, they're very happy with it. They just gave us that reference. You can see the top. That's the only reference we had and nothing else. So from that, we just create it and so far, so good. Happy naman. And yun nga, like we said, we always make sure na happy ang client when we do our stuff. Next slide. Yeah, okay. And now, again, thank you kay Roel Amigo Panizares, for, helping me on this project. We started doing, taking small interest on people who wants to do some giveaways for Savior team. Actually, it's a Savior basketball team. So I think they won their third championship. So it's their giveaway for for winning the team, winning the game third time. All right. So next slide. So so having a digit products along the way. Sabi ko nga kay Ruel and sa mga friends ko, I stopped doing fan art statues na. And I focus on getting license on our future products from then on. Talagang after enjoying uh, after enjoying licensed stuff, in the beginning it's very hard doing licensed stuff because you have to ask permission on every artwork that you do compared to fan art. Whatever you think is best, you just do it. But on the license thing, you need to comply with all their parameters. So at first very hard, but along the way you get used to it, and then you realize they have their own purpose. I mean, they have their purpose because they know their product more than us. Their character. So from that, being known in the statue community, local and international. So I met a lot of people, foreigners, and were happy with our works. And I had this chance to have partnership with XM Studios. So we did work on the 1/3 scale and 1/7 scale. So being international, so kailangan international din yung brands. Kaya from that, the we have created a new name, which is Legendary B Studios. So we're having my partner Nathan Anderson and my brother Ian as part of the team. Fortunately, people love our works. So when we launched the Cap America, they're so excited on it. And in 1 hour, that Cap America was sold out. Sold out in 1 hour. Next slide. Okay, that's the XM Studios team. Okay. All right, next slide. Actually, hold on. That's back muna. You can see the XM, the one of the owners of XM, the brothers Seng, Claire, wala dyan si Ben Ang. So later I will show it to you. So actually it's a team of XM. So they're very nice, very accommodative, very friendly, and yeah, sometimes strict and typical for Singaporean. And but they're actually very, very, very nice, very helpful. They actually guide me along the way, and they know me for some time, and they know that I have this potential, and like them, they started on art statues, and then eventually, they went to legit, and actually they're guiding me. They're Sen is my guru, and Ben is my guru too. So next slide. So we did this Cap America. You can see it's a 1/3 scale. This is sculpted by Ryan Serrano, and actually I want to thank Harvey Tolibao for the great concept for Captain America. Actually, it's been back and forth for that concept. We wanted the Captain America elegant, simple but strong. We did try a lot of sketches, but that doesn't make the feel of Cap America, something that's iconic pose. So we come up with this, and he made a great design for the base. Next slide. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, okay. I'll later show it to you the base, but you can see the pictures of it. Really, really nice. Actually, we did it as your centerpiece when you display your Cap America. We envision prestige series that we call our 1/3 scale prestige series. Na something that once you have it, if you're a fan of Cap America, this is best of the best of Cap America of your collections. So this is something na you will be proud of, and you will make it your centerpiece. So that's actually what we do. We do with our concepts. We really don't really just rush on things and just do it without thinking on the designs. So next slide. So you can see the whole figure with the base and the swap out heads. Right. Next slide. You can see the other options for the statue. We put on the back shield, the other swap up options. So this layout was done by Kevin Tulibao, HMT Group. They're really great on doing stuff like this, layouts, everything. Okay, next slide. All right, on this video, okay, can you Jay, can you play the video of Captain America for 6 years so people can see the video of Cap? So thank you I hope you enjoyed that short clip of Cap America. So on this next photo, actually I told you like we have to scale license. So we have also this 1/7 Juggernaut scale statue, 1/7 scale Juggernaut statue. Actually, you can see on this concept, you see he Juggernaut smashing in from the walls of X Mansion. So you can see all the details here. This concept will be eventually will go for a future diorama, hopefully. So next slide, you can see the details on Juggernaut. Okay. All right. Next slide. All right. You can see the you know yung feel of him going through that wall. Nandun yun. Hindi lang basta pumasok. Nandun yung anger. Yung makikita mo yun sa statue eh. So, next slide. You can see the Savior School, the wall, the gate of X Mansion. Next wall. Next slide. And so the details you can see, no? The Savior School and the smashing of the wall, the bricks, nandiyan lahat. It's really, really nice. Actually, dun sa Juggernaut, what really did was to make it like to show power of Juggernaut. So you can see, Jay, can you play the video so you can see the Turn around, let's go. Okay. So seeing Juggernaut on that. So next slide, you can see the next statue that we will feature, which is Spider-Man 1/7 scale. So we did some uh, effects on this. You can see the flame, the explosion that's coming in from the I think it's a spider bot we did. So this concept is done by HMT Studios, Harvey Talibao. Told you this guy is really always doing great style, great concept for us. And you can see that he has all the features of the robot and the explosion. So on the 1/7 scale, our next is Iceman and other stuff for the 1/7 scale. And for the 1/3 scale, you can see at my left, baliktad pala yung camera, on the right. On you can see here. Okay, can you focus on? Yeah, okay. That's our next statue. That's the actually a 1/3 scale 4, right? So it's a companion for Cap America 1/3 scale. So people are actually clamoring for it. So this will be up very very soon. I think 2 weeks from now or 1 week from now, this will be up. So stay tuned for pre-orders of those, avid fan collectors of statues for XM and LBS. Okay. I would like to say thank you for XM Studios, Ben Anseng, Brian Tan, Alexa, Claire, and including Alex Thomas. You guys are awesome. Okay, that one. You guys are great. You taught me how to be patient and to make things right. Okay, and also I would like to say thank you to my SCAF family. Uh, that Statue and Collectibles Alliance Philippines for the great friendship on this hobby. Next slide. All right, next slide, please. And so these are great people. They've been supporting our team, our group, and enjoying the hobby. Every year we do meet up for Christmas get together. We do some raffles. Actually, that venue was I think it was on Romel's their new restaurant. I forgot the name. Maybe it's in what you call that? Louis. Actually, Louis Lustre is a friend of mine. We started forming the group SCAF after we left PSF. All right. So you guys are great. Thank you for for the support, for everyday chat, and for every updates you do for statue communities. And then for those people who I've missed mentioning, thank you so much. And also, I would like to share to you this another project Dave and I are doing. It's the Black Darner figure. This is not. This is still a prototype, but we're still working on it. Do a few tweaks. This will be a matchup with Darna. All right. And let me see. Tatanggalin ko sa box si Darna. So, okay. All right. So these are the Darna figures. Okay. So this is the Black Darna. And all right. Okay. All right, guys. I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for your time. I think I need to another launch something. I think Roel the other night, Roel Panizares, amigo, we started. We plan to do a fan art figures. So actually, this is the fan art figures. Let me try to show it to you. Yeah. Okay. Still in developing stage. So, but we started doing fan art figures. So, sa mga fan art fanatic, expectin nyo maraming darating na plano si Ruel, amigo sa inyo. Thank you so much. And also, I would like to say thank you then to DC, Warner Brothers, Pacific Licensing for giving me the license for our upcoming pieces. I don't know if I could show it to you. It's actually sketches done by Freely. So anyone who knows Freely, Abrigo, so we have an artwork that's on works. And again, I'm pushing Filipino, artists na iba yung Pinoy ma-push natin, magagaling ang Pinoy eh. So Freely is one of a few people na nakita ko sobrang galing gumawa ng mga chibi. So Freely, next year, yun yung taon natin. Alright? Alright, thank you guys. Yun lang naman. Salamat. At Cholo, we're good.
Yes, props to the master. Thank you, JC. Thank you for showing us your journey. Oh, nga, no, I forgot about how things started for you guys. Particularly that very close knit group of friends that would meet from way back PTK days, Pinoy Toy Collector days. Thank you for
Actually,
refreshing our memory. Yes.
Ikaw nag-introduce sa akin sa PTK eh. Doon sa email mo,
Really?
remember I was inquiring for the Venom figures. You sent me a list of the figures and then you have this link. I tried to click it and nag-join na ako sa Pinoy Toy Collectors.
Very nice.
So thank you, Cholo.
Instrumental din pala ako sa maski paano the birth of the Halimaw Studios and Legendary Beasts. This Darna is something very exciting for us. Of course, every time we talk Darna, a lot of Filipino fans are excited. So when are the action figures coming out, Jay?
Actually, it's shipping this month. So hopefully next month, August. Right. It'll be out now already.
These are the same action figures that you premiered at TOYCON last year, correct? Yep. Those are incredible.
Almost sold out na eh. Almost sold out na.
Yeah.
Oh no! I gotta catch up.
Almost. Just a few pieces left actually. I actually reserving it to close friends kasi when we released figures, alam naman, excited the mga Pinoy. And this is the very first figures. And actually, this figure comes with a trading card. I forgot to show it to you. Hold on.
Oh, wow.
So
old school. This toys with card.
Yeah. So, this is the trading card. Let's show it to you. Okay. This is the trading card. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. It's like the
like a top playing card.
The purpose of that actually for those who ordered pre-orders ahead. Actually, I think we run like limited first 500 to early pre-order for Darna will get the exclusive trading cards. Just a token of people who ordered or trusted us from day one. Yeah.
Nice, cool. All right, Jay.
Yeah.
So we'll reserve some questions for you for the Q&A in
Yes,
just
sir.
a bit. We'll head on to our last guest for tonight. Thank you, Jay. Thank you
Thank you so much.
sharing with us your pieces. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be asking later on how we can pre-order that brand new Thor statue that we see in the
Yeah.
background. Maybe we'll get a better view of that later on. All right. Thanks,
Yeah,
Jay.
all
We'll
right.
check back with you
Okay. Thank
later.
you.
All right.
All right.
So, Brett, uh,
Well,
okay, good news and bad news. Unfortunately, our last guest, Mr. Scott Neitlich, had to go and perform some daddy duties. All right, so he's not going to be around to answer your questions, but he did leave us a little something to show you about how he got his start, I guess, in the business. And later, probably after we watch this video of his, Scott will be coming back to join us for TOYCON TV in a future episode. But he did
yes,
leave
he
us
will.
something to talk about, maybe mix into the discussion later. So let's watch this video of Scott Neitlich, all right, and how he got his start in the toy industry. So Jay, if we're ready, we can run that video.
Hey, toy fans, collectors, and industry folks. Today, I am talking about how to get a job in the toy industry. And, well, I'm going to use my story because it's kind of interesting, and I get asked this actually quite a lot when I do like podcasts or interviews with fan sites is how in the world did I get my job at Mattel? So, let's jump in. Quick introduction, I'm Scott Neitlich, aka ToyGuru on a lot of the forums, and I was with Mattel for just a smidgen under 10 years. And during that time, I really had a dream job. I was working on toys, which is what I always wanted to do. I was in meetings talking about toys. I mean, it was pretty mind-blowing. And I get asked all the time, how in the world did I, get this job? How did I get into Mattel and working on brands that I love, like He-Man and DC and Ghostbusters and, that kind of stuff. So I'll tell that quick story and maybe it'll help inspire you. So growing up in Southern California, I would always see the old Mattel building in Hawthorne off the side of the freeway. Every time we drove from Orange County to Los Angeles, you would pass this big brick building with the Mattel logo on the side, and it was like right there. And as a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, you're like, wow, there's a toy company right there, because you would see it right off the freeway. Mattel eventually moved to El Segundo, but that giant logo on the building was kind of ingrained into my mind. And knowing that there was a giant toy corporation right here, sort of in my backyard, quote unquote, definitely gave me the thought of possibly working there one day. Now, my father worked for a company called Jakks, which he was a vice president of, I think, product development in their tennis division. That's actually why we moved to California from Connecticut. And one of his coworkers, her husband, was a Mattel executive in the 80s and used to, because he knew that my father had young children at home, would get us the Mattel catalog every year. Now, this is a industry catalog that is basically given to retailers who want to place orders for product. It's not a, like a public catalog like the Sears catalog was, if you will. But as a kid getting the Mattel catalog, this was like mind-blowing because it had pictures of all the upcoming, He-Man toys and I don't want to say Batman toys. There were no Batman toys from Mattel at the time. There were some Secret Wars Marvel figures, but I mean everything from Munch and Cheese to Barbie to Hot Wheels to Mad Scientist, it was all there. So I went on after high school to UC Santa Barbara, which was about 3 hours north of Los Angeles. And a big reason that I went there is they had a great film and media department, which that was my major. I started as a film major. I eventually actually added communications as a second major, since I wanted to get a sort of a more well-rounded education. But my goal was to become a screenwriter. I actually wanted to write TV commercials, was what I thought I would do. I definitely had that writing bug, and right after college, after I graduated, I applied to several openings at Mattel, and I got a nice postcard back from them saying we received your application. Thank you very much. We'll keep it on file for 6 months. And every 6 months, I would resend in my application, and then I would get another postcard. And I think I still have these postcards. I kept every single one of them. But they would basically keep sending me these postcards in the mail, telling me, thank you for applying. We will hold on to your material for 6 months. If we need you, we'll contact you. And I've never heard back from anything but the postcards. So with knowing, I was hitting that postcard sort of stop in the road, I wound up working for a company called Allergan, which is a pharmaceutical company, and I got a job as a writer working for them, and I wrote print ads and medical material for them on their beauty accounts and their Botox and glaucoma accounts. I could tell you more about glaucoma and how it works than you probably ever want to know. I actually kind of feel like I have a medical degree in glaucoma. I had to analyze all of these what are called empirical studies and pull out results and figure out how to take those results and turn them into headlines, and everything had to be backed up by all the legalese. Now, of course, writing print ads definitely gave me, insight into, being a copywriter, which I was eventually able to use at Mattel. I wrote all of my own print ads when I was in marketing, but that's, how I got into marketing is a story for another time. But, it was kind of cool that I was able to sort of take that skill set of writing ads and apply it to toys in the long run. All right, so here I am working for Allergan, doing glaucoma print ads, and going to Comic-Con, as I did every year, because that's what I did. And I wandered over to the Mattel booth, as I do every year, to check out the latest cool stuff. And back in 2004, the booth was a little different. It was more kind of about the brands and less about Mattel, with those giant sort of posters in the air. And I happened to meet a gentleman named Eddie Hayden, who was the brand manager for Justice League at the time, the Justice League Bruce Timm figures, the little 4-inch figures, which ironically I went on to brand manage. But again, story for another time. So Eddie is the brand manager at this point in the Justice League when they were back on blue cards. So this was like the first 2 years of the line, mostly when they really only had the original league. This is way before Justice League Unlimited came about, when it was just kind of the core members. And getting to talk to him, one thing that I came to realize was that the legalese in pharmaceutical advertising is very transferable to the legalese in toy advertising or writing on packaging, because you have to know, there's so many legal disclaimers and there's so many copyrights and so many, legal marks and all sorts of things that have to be included in toys. And this is actually quite a skill set. I didn't realize that this was a skill set, being able to navigate sort of legalese with copy. And that's what opened the door for me with Mattel. Hot Wheels was looking for a packaging junior copywriter to join their team. And when I showed them my portfolio, Eddie was able to get me an interview. He was impressed with my portfolio that I had with me at Comic-Con. They saw my ability to do the legalese and pharmaceutical as very transferable to what they needed in the Hot Wheels packaging group. Someone who could navigate that. Now, I will say, fast forwarding years later, when I was with Mattel and going to Comic-Con, I would have people coming up to me every day asking how to get a job at Mattel. And I would ask them, well, what do you want to do? And they would just say, I want to make toys, very sort of generically. So I think a big thing that, where I stood apart was the fact that I had a professional portfolio and I had work that was applicable, meaning, again, being able to navigate promotional copy and legal needs at the same time, which the pharmaceutical industry and what I didn't realize was the toy industry also needs. So I got my first job at Mattel in the Hot Wheels group. I was 4 months between my interview and the job offer, which was, of course, antagonizing, but eventually I got a call back and they liked what they saw. They also liked that I sort of had a passion for toys in general. And that, because most people in the toy industry or at Mattel are just kind of, people working on consumer product. The fact that I also love toys definitely pushed me ahead. So it was really a combination of the fact that I had a passion for toys and I had a skill set that Mattel needed. And the job I wound up getting was as the copywriter on basic Hot Wheels, which means I would work with designers. Like in this case, this is a Larry Wood design for a car he created. And if you don't know who Larry Wood is, you can Google him. He's quite a famous Hot Wheels designer. So they would take their sketches, turn them into real cars, and then it would be up to the copywriter to help come up with a name for that car, as well as the names on all the play sets, etc., and all those words. Now, this is obviously a long way from me becoming the brand manager on Matty Collector and on DC Universe and moving over to the marketing group. That is a whole story for another time. But I hope that this video at least kind of sheds some light on how I got my foot in the door with Mattel, and I think that's the key. For people who, want to work at Mattel and say, want to work on He-Man, it doesn't always work like that. It's all about kind of getting that first job at a company and then maybe moving your way over to the group or the brand you want to work on in time. You're not necessarily going to start right away on something like He-Man. It's something I built up to after several years and was able to get to work on that.
All right. There you go. Thank you to Scott Neitlich for sharing with us. I guess you can put it as his secret origin in the in the toy industry. All right. So too bad that he had to go, but he did promise us that he will be spending more time with us the next time we get him back on the show. All right, Brett. So
and Scott has so much great information and insight on the toy industry. You can find it on his YouTube channel at Spector Creative.
Thanks a lot, Brett. Yes, so do check him out on YouTube. And let's bring in our two guests, Emiliano and Jay, for some Q&A, because we've been saving up some questions for you, particularly also from our viewers for tonight. So, and you've got a lot of fans, Emil and Jay. And we'd like to share some of their questions, but maybe we can start off, Brett, with some questions that we had, I guess, prepared for tonight's episode, particularly for you guys, the toy creators. Maybe just to start off with a simple question: what toys? Well, we heard Jay share a little bit about his growing up years, but maybe for Emiliano, what toys did you grow up with, Emiliano? What were your I guess what was your introduction to pop culture in your childhood?
Well, of course, He-Man was the biggest one, the one I got it and never get out. But before that,
you were a big He-Man fan from way back.
Yes, yeah. I was from day one. Literally from here, they arrived in autumn '83. We were a year later than US, but it was like love at first sight and never left. But before that, Big Jim was big in Italy, so every kid has a Big Jim. So I got Big Jim. I got Micronauts. I wanted a lot more Micronauts than I got. I'm trying to buy them now.
Yeah.
And of course,
what toy line was that? What toy line was Micronauts?
Micronauts was
Micronauts was its own separate line.
Was it a Japanese brand?
Kinda. It was using the molds from a Japanese brand, but it was done by a US company called Migo. The same guys that did the World Greatest Superheroes. They were taking.
This was their 3 3/4-inch action figure line.
Yes. Yeah.
And plus they had, and because I grew up with Micronauts, they had the motorized vehicles. They had just snap-on accessories that could be interchangeable for all the figures. Okay, you're taking me back, Emiliano.
The most popular Micronauts in Italy were the Magnum Powerhead. They were bigger size figures with magnetic spheres that connected. They were actually they were using the Takara mold for Jig, the Kotetsu Jig robot. They took that one and just did new heads and sold them multiple times as different characters. But here they were hugely popular. So still these days, you can find hundreds of them because they produce so many. And Macross was so big that the last few items were produced just specifically for Italy. Something weird because that happened again with Masters of the Universe too in '88. But yeah, and also the biggest thing that everybody was in were Japanese robots. So we were buying Daltanius and Trider G7, God Sigma, Vultus, Daikengo, even the most obscure one, Golion, Daikengo. We got everything from 75 to 82, 84, basically. We had all the shows and we imported all the toys. So those were my toys. And Lego, of course, Lego.
Oh, of course. Well, what about you, Jay? Do you remember the toys that you played with when you were much younger? You mentioned you were more into cards, collecting cards. But well, your mic is on mute. Jay, your mic is muted.
Yeah,
There
okay.
you go.
I remember my first toy was the I just go to Pasig Market, the kawayan, yung tak 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 tak. You know the
The
toy.
wooden gun. That made sounds.
Wooden
Yeah,
gun.
yeah,
I think
I
that's
remember
my first
that.
toy
Wow.
actually. And then actually I collecting trading cards that time. Actually, it's not the
Yeah.
original. It's a trading card when you go out of your school. There's someone selling at the street. You buy it. I actually collect that. Actually, it's really cheap, but the feel of collecting WWE superstar, the Hulk Hogan, Jake the
Right.
Snake, Superfly, and eventually I moved to Marvel trading cards. Yeah. So basically, that's all I could do in younger days.
Maybe
So
I'm,
with,
I, as
with
a,
oh,
go ahead, Brett.
No, so
No,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
with your background in making the figures and growing up with that, what has been the best figure you've been able to work on, and what have
Yes,
you
yeah.
pulled from your history that you contributed to that figure or to that statue?
Is that for me?
Nicely.
Yeah, Brett.
Or both of you?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
What's
Emiliano
your
first, yeah.
proudest work?
Oh, sorry.
The proudest
I
work?
got to start.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I believe it was for Jay. So I didn't really pay that attention. I was reading our chat when you asked it. Can you ask it again? Sorry.
Sure. I mean, with your background, with your favorite toys growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, Emiliano, working on the Master of the Universe line, you've been able to carry over a lot from what you grew up with to what you currently do, to what you've done. What have you carried over? What is the toy you are proudest to have worked on?
It's an hard question because usually it's never one thing for me because sometimes you really like certain aspects of a toy, like or you're just proud that you worked on a certain character. It changed all the time. I know it's a disappointing question, but it changed all the time. Like I always have something new. I'm very happy right now to have worked on the Mondo figures because I've been able to put some of the Masters of the Universe elements that I love into them. And I can't wait for some of the other figures we worked on to be revealed because I put a lot of love in those. So I'm very happy that we're taking this to the customers and the fans the way they are. Weirdly, you know what? Now you made me thought about this, and I was mentioning when I was doing my presentation that there were these figures, these two He-Man figures, Hero and Eldor, that were supposed to come out in 1987, between 1987 and 1988, and they never came out because Masters of the Universe was canceled back then. When I started working with Super 7, me and my friends from the Power Runner Foundation started pushing for this. At the beginning, they weren't sure about doing these figures, and then they heard the fans talking about it, and they started asking, we want Eldor and Hero, we want Eldor and Hero. And even if I didn't actually resculpted them, I took part in recreating this because I gave them all the photos. I gave the Fororson a lot of notes on how to sculpt certain elements of them because we didn't have the original prototypes anymore. I recreated the packaging. I worked out the action feature of Hero staff, which had a particular mechanism inside, and we had nothing to work with. We just had to understand how it worked inside, something we couldn't see. And these figures came out 35 years later. And it's not like I designed them, but I'm so happy that I contributed to finish this line somehow. It was very fun for me. I always wanted those figures because I didn't get them when I was a kid. So contributing to that was a big thing for me.
Nice. All right. A lot of people are really raving about your work with Mondo. That He-Man line that you did for Mondo is really just amazing, and hopefully it will continue. You did mention a while ago like maybe Man at Arms is the latest, but
Man at Arms is on sale now, and
all right.
Yes, Ordak should be next. I know I designed it more. I can't say which one, and we'll see if we'll go beyond that.
Okay. Right. What about you, Jay? What is your proudest achievement in terms of your, I guess, your career as a toy creator?
Well, actually, I just recently do all the concepts for our statues. Really, I do it overnight. So with the help of course other people like Harvey, they put my ideas into they to sketches. So all of my products actually I'm proud of it. You can see Cap America. I'm really proud of it. All the details actually
yeah,
it has a good review. Although along the way there's some little flaws you will miss out. But so far at the end of the day, all of them are really happy. We had a good review of Cap America, and next will be Thor. I think
Thor.
they will be happy on
Can
it
you show
too.
us? There you go.
Okay.
Maybe we can do a close up of the Thor statue because this is something that
Yeah.
we have not seen as much as the Captain America statue. We haven't actually exhibited this Thor statue in
Not yet.
TOYCON.
Not yet.
Awesome.
Not yet.
Yes.
Should have been this year, but
This year,
there's
yeah.
no toy. Yeah.
Right.
So this is actually Thor.
Wow. With the classic colors. Comic book colors, right? Can we see the base? What's the base like?
Okay.
Nice.
This is the base.
Nice.
Oh, very good.
Actually, this base is a story.
So detailed.
This is a story of Ragnarok. So you can see Surtur here.
Wow.
Attacking Asgard. So they're defending it. Actually, hold on.
Maybe we can
Just
close up on that, Jay. If you can just focus on. There you go. Thank you.
Wow.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Tree of Life, Surtur.
Yeah.
Who designed this, Jay? Who designed this?
Actually, like I mentioned the other day, actually when I went to Italy, I was inspired by the artwork in the Saint Basilica. So actually, that actually it's actually a conversation with my partner Nathan, and then we come up with this. So a lot of statue actually been done, and no one did this concept. So actually, that's a concept. You can see the serpent.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you can see the wolf. I don't know. I forgot the name. Yeah.
Fenris.
Yeah. All right.
Right.
Okay. And then at the back, it's based on comics where actually Loki is planning to actually he's the reason why there's Ragnarok. He's part of it, so he's planning on it. And then when Thor discovered the the tapestry, you can see the tapestry here. The story. He destroyed it. He destroyed it. The tapestry. and the tapestry, the keeper, are just three ladies. They're the one who keep the tapestry. So pretty nice, yeah. And you can see the base. So you can see the base. So,
wow, the detail on this is incredible.
Yeah. This base is amazing, and I can see the influence of classic sculpture from Rome that you saw.
Yeah,
Even
right. And actually, this one also is really nice. The one we did for Juggernaut. I am a Juggernaut fan. All right, so this is the one with the statue. Yeah. All right. Actually, that's it for now.
Very nice. Very
You
nice.
can see the beauty of
expression is really also so cool. So very stern.
Yeah. You can see the details, huh? And the buttons. You can see the buttons details. Okay. All right.
Love it. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So hope to see that as a complete collection. So now we have Captain America and Thor. I think the logical next piece to this would be an Iron Man. If you want to put together the Trinity of the Avengers, do you think, are we up for an Iron Man or
Hawkeye?
Actually,
I vote Hawkeye.
yeah?
Hawkeye will be a little like 2 years from now or 3 years from now. But actually, we're working on Hulk and Iron Man. Iron Man just submitted it. I was just waiting for approval. Hulk, we're working on it. Actually, I wish I could show you. I could show you Hulk, but
Wow, in this scale, the scale nitong Captain America and Thor. So that must be huge.
Actually, looking at Thor, will be like little. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's nice. It's nice actually. What we do is really something. If you're a collector of this, in collectors, knowing collectors, they collect just Cap America. They collect just Hulk. They collect just Iron Man. So if you are a fan of this character, we always make sure once we do this, you'll be happy. We'll be happy that you have this statue in your house. Best of the best. That's how we do for our stuff. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So,
amazing.
thank you.
All right. Maybe let's put on what's this axe? Okay, let's put on some questions from our audience before we get into some fun and games here. We'll be giving out some prizes, so hopefully you guys know the drill. Just stick around until the end of the show because we're going to be giving out some awesome prizes in just a while.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, we also have a very special guest to join us on the show here. We have Mr. Alfred Alcala. We're bringing in at this time because, well, Alfred, Emiliano, and Emiliano is a big admirer of your dad. Say hi, Alfred. Sorry, your mic is on mute. Maybe we can. There you go. Hello, Alfred. Welcome back to TOYCON TV.
Hello, Emiliano.
Hello, Alfred.
All right. Welcome back. Emiliano, you said you were going to show us something. My next question was actually going to be about who your influences were as an artist. And you did mention when we met a while back that one of your influences or one of the people who you really look up to as an artist is Alfred's father, the great Alfredo Alcala. And you had something to share with us, Emiliano?
Yes. Well, basically, being a He-Man fan, I was in since day one, and of course, there were the mini books drawn by Alfred Dad, and I was part of hooked me to Masters of the Universe was Alfredo Alcala books, and they were just stunning. I think for a lot of He-Man fans, those are the best representation of the He-Man characters. And I got to meet a lot of He-Man creators through this organization I mentioned about, and maybe I will talk a little bit better later about it, the Power and Honor Foundation, which I'm president of. And through this organization, I got to meet a lot of creators and collectors. Unfortunately, I didn't make in time to meet Alfredo, which was a dream of mine. But I other than collecting the toys, because of the job we do at the Power and Honor Foundation, we also collect original artwork of Masters of the Universe from everybody that worked on the brand. We started because a friend of mine, Josh Van Pelt, bought a huge collection of design and concept work from Mattel designer. And then it was on and on. We started buying comic pages and packaging art, books art. And but on top of my collection, the best piece I have is this one. This is the last page from the last of the 4 mini books made by Alfredo Alcala. And it's such an important thing for me to have one of his original ink. I know that there aren't a lot of pieces around. Actually, I think between me and my friend Josh, we have the only 2 Alfredo pages out there. We don't know where the others are. I wish we could find them somehow. I know that probably Alfred has some, but not the colors, because the colors were done separately. These are the inks. Right. The colors were done on a different piece of paper, and the inks were photocopied on a piece of a cell, basically, like the carton cell, and then rephotographed for printing. So most of the stuff disappeared at Mattel, at the old Mattel archive, unfortunately. But yeah, this is the piece I'm mostly proud of. Alfredo's work was really like one of the things that hooked me up on him and on art. So I'm sorry I didn't get to meet him, but I was very happy when Alfred started showing up online and joining the He-Man groups on Facebook, and I got to talk to him. And hopefully, I mean, we were meant to meet this year over there in Manila, and we couldn't. But we were also thinking about making like an exhibition of Alfredo's work here in Italy at one point. So hopefully that will happen.
Wow, Alfred, what do you have to say about that? It's good that you guys found each other online, but. Do we still have more of what your father's He-Man works floating around? Maybe with you? Who knows? Fred.
I have this.
Wow. Can we close up on this,
can you see?
Jay? Yeah, hold on. There you go.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
This is original pencil art. Okay.
It's already
very nice. Wow.
Ink drawing.
It's
one
an ink
page and then
work. Yes. All right.
It's an ink. And this one. This one's a little bit bigger. 2 pages.
So these are pages from the mini comic, right? The mini comic that would come with the toys. Is that correct, or were they sold separately?
Yes. They were coming with the toys.
With the toy.
Yeah.
Nice.
And if you see the proportion, the pages are big. And it's really a mini comic. Small comic books.
Actually, Alfred, I think that the in the mini comic you were showing, it's the same page that Emiliano has.
Yeah, that's the page exactly. Yeah, that one.
This one, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And it's such an iconic scene, with He-Man
Yeah.
on Battle Cat with the. Is that Tila?
Yes, that's
Right.
Tila. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. So amazing.
And it surprised me that a lot of artists and painters have been doing. Sorry, I've been doing homage of my dad's art, making them into big oil paintings
Mhm.
like this one. There's a big painting made by an art painter.
Yeah. Simon, probably you're referring to Simon Soltau, which is a German
Yes.
painter. Yes. Which is a big fan too, and he loves translating your dad's artwork into big oil paintings. I've seen some of them at the convention here. He is a really big fan.
Would you know, Emiliano, if the shape of the toys that actually came out were they somehow influenced by the art that Alfredo Alcala created?
Okay, we believed for the most time that Alfredo created the look of the characters in the comic book. Eventually, we found out that many of the elements were coming from the original Mark Taylor sketches and then Tony Guerrero's prototype. Mostly from looking at the art and looking at the prototypes, I can tell Alfredo was given photos of the prototype sculpted by Tony Guerrero, which was the original sculptor for the line. But at the same time, the proportions, the look, the stance, Alfredo just interpreted them in a way that gave them life. Not that Tony was an amazing sculptor, but of course it was bound to the pose, the action pose that the figure were meant to be sculpted in. But Alfredo really gave them life. They made real characters, and reading these books, and they were not even comics; they were just illustration at first. You could just feel that word through his illustration. So even if we learned that actual designs was coming from Mark and Tony, that what Alfredo did was as important for children, for us as children. Absolutely.
All right. Great. Thank you for sharing your dad's artwork with us, Alfred. Do stay on. Maybe you can come up with a prize because we'll be needing some prizes for this next portion of the show where we ask some questions to you, our audience, and if you answer correctly, then you get to bring home some of the prizes that we are going to be dishing out for you right now. So maybe we can start off with I guess with me. All right. I will give out some prizes. I got a couple of these nice toy knickknacks, courtesy of Trexie, one of our TOYCON sponsors, courtesy of Banky, by the way. All right, you get three of these, and I'll be asking this question on behalf of Scott, who had to go. But tell us, what is the name of Scott Neitlich's latest venture? What is the name of his company in which he serves as creative director? All right. So if you know Scott Neitlich and you follow him, and you watched the video a while ago, you would remember the name of his company. So to win these three Trexie toys, just type up the name of Scott Neitlich's latest venture, his newest company. All right, which is a brand management company. Okay, so the let's get the fourth person with the correct answer, because I know a lot of you guys are already busy typing up the answer. So let's get the fourth person with the correct answer. What is the name of Scott Neitlich's latest company? And he owns this company, so it's not Mattel. Obviously, it's not Mattel. All right. What is the name of Scott Neitlich's company? And we
It's
showed
also
that.
the same name as his YouTube channel.
Yes, it's also his YouTube handle. Is that right, Brett?
Yeah, it's the same name as his YouTube channel.
Correct. Okay, so there you go. It's not Matty Collector. Okay,
Nope.
there's the clue. It's not Matty Collector. Okay, so Scott left Mattel sometime in the the recent
2015.
few years. All right, he worked for Jakks Pacific. He worked for Jada Toys, and then he started up his own company. All right, so what's the name of Scott Neitlich's newest company? Oh, might as well take in the first person with the correct answer. All right, a lot of people guessed wrongly, so it's not Matty Collector, but it is. If you were answering, no.
Nope. That ToyGuru is his nickname.
ToyGuru is his nickname.
Hasbro.
That's what he
But
calls
it is
himself.
not. But it is not his company.
Okay.
Can I give a clue?
Getting close.
Yes, give a clue, Emiliano.
Okay, there was a character introduced in the Masters of the Universe Classics that he created. Well, yes, that is.
There you go.
Okay.
Finally, we got a winner,
Spector?
and it's Celeste Climena. That's correct. So the correct answer is Spector Creative. All right, and do check out Scott on his channel on YouTube, Spector Creative. There you go. Congratulations, Celeste. We'll deliver the toys to you. All right, Emiliano, maybe you can go up next. We're excited what you will give out as a prize for tonight.
Sure. I have one of my sketchbook. I will send a copy of my sketchbook over there. And it's a small sketchbook I did last year with some of the artwork, some of my personal artwork. Usually is He-Man, but there are other things. See, a lot of He-Man stuff, of course, but I'll show you something else. Just also personal art that I do just to stretch my skills. From time to time, do different things.
So, Emiliano, will you autograph this for whoever
Yes, of
wins
course.
it?
I will. I definitely will. Cholo, you're muted.
What question are we going to ask for this prize?
It's up to me.
It's up to you.
Yes, you can ask anything. Sure. Anything about something that possibly that you shared that people might have picked up on. If people were listening to your earlier presentations. Thank you, Kat, for that announcement. Yes, later on we'll send you a form to all of our winners. All right, go ahead, Emiliano.
I should have thought about this in advance. It's okay if I ask some He-Man trivia.
Sure. That would be great.
Okay. If you guys know Orko, which is one of my favorite characters in Masters of the Universe, he lives on Eternia with Prince Adam, King Randor, and Attila, etc., but is not from Eternia. Can anybody name the place Orko is originally from?
Ooh, wow. All right.
It's not that difficult, I promise. It's actually not that
we
difficult.
all know Orko. I thought he was a native of Eternia, but apparently he's from another place. All right.
Yes.
If you're a He-Man fan, then you should know what is the original. How should I call it? Home world of Orko. Orko, right? There you go.
Orko.
There you go. For that Emiliano Santalucia sketchbook. What a prize! All right. Okay, maybe we'll get the first person with the correct answer because this is kind of hard. You have to be a really hardcore He-Man fan to know this.
I see someone's already got it.
All right, somebody got it.
Okay.
Can you reveal the correct answer, Emiliano?
Yes, it's Orko is from Trolla.
There you go, Trolla. All right, the
Trolla.
first person to give the correct answer is, wow, of course, Christoph. Wow, who's been with us throughout the entire show. Thank you. Congratulations, Christoph. So we will find a way to get that sketchbook from Emiliano in Palermo,
Trolla.
Italy, and deliver it to your hands. All right, congratulations, Christoph. Just fill out the form a little later on. Thank you, Emiliano. And
Yeah.
finally, Jay.
Yeah.
Yes. Anything that you'd like to give away as a prize? Something in the background there? No. It's up to you. It's up to you, bro.
Wait. Yeah. Actually, I was thinking. We did one repaint of Combatron. This is
Oh,
a
wow.
metallic comic version, so this is just one of a kind. I don't plan to do more, so maybe I could give this as a giveaway.
Wow.
It's
Amazing.
yeah, this is one of a kind. So one paint only. So ano ba question? I mean, I will ask a question.
Sure. Please do ask the question.
Okay. Okay. Who gave me the link for PTK? Who gave me?
Okay.
Who gave me the
That's so
link?
hard.
Who gave me the link? If you're listening all the way to my my presentation, who is the only guy who actually linked me for PTK?
All right. So, yep. Who provided Jay the connection to Pinoy Toy Collectors? Okay, Pinoy Toy Collector
Yeah.
PTK. All right. So
Yeah.
let's get. If you were listening to Jay's sharing a while ago, then you would have picked up on that. Who provided Jay the link to PTK, which started it all for him. All right. So here you go. We'll get the first person also with the correct answer. Okay, and the answer is, what's the answer, Jay? Who?
Cholo, you.
Yeah, I would have thought about that too. Yes, wow. And the first person with the correct answer. So thank you for remembering that, Jay. And I love,
Yeah.
people have been saying, that we love you for remembering us. How you
Of course.
brought this community together. All right. So
Okay.
first person with the correct answer, if I'm not mistaken, is so many answers. All right.
Nice.
I think it's Dan. Is it?
No, I thought it
Wait
was
a minute.
Celeste.
No, it's you. Cholo, it's
Is it?
you.
No. I didn't
Yeah.
answer. Wait a minute. Just to be sure. The first person, right? Oh,
First
okay. All right.
person?
Because Celeste already won. So we'll give it to the
Okay.
next person. Sorry. I may have so it's Michael. All right. Sorry about that. Michael Colomna. There you go. Thank you for acknowledging me,
Thank you, Cholo.
Mike. And wow, what a prize. What a great prize. Congratulations for
Yeah.
winning that one of a kind Combatron prototype. Wow. Thank you. And maybe just to wrap things up, we'll have you have your last say. Emiliano, you were telling us about a foundation. Maybe you can tell us more about it and how we can find it and you online.
Yeah,
Please do.
well,
Yeah, go
you
ahead.
can find us at powerandhonor.org. We also have Facebook page. You can just look for the Power and Honor Foundation. It's a group of collectors.
Mhm.
It's a group of collectors that our mission is to collect and preserve Masters of the Universe artwork. We want to create an archive of artwork to share with fans over time. Our main goal would be to create books where we collect this art by theme. We did the one in 2011 with the materials we had. It's sold out since then. It's a small book with this concept design for Mattel. But we have like dozens of thousands pieces for filmation. We have art from the movie. We are in touch with other collectors that have art. We collaborated with Dark Horse for their Masters of the Universe art book. We provided art and consulting for that book. With Super 7, we did art prints, and we did art portfolios with Mark Taylor and Rudy Obrero and Errol McCarthy. So we try to preserve this art in an organized fashion, in high quality, high resolution. Even if we don't own the art, we like to scan art or other people's art from other collections. So we create this archive for the future, for the posterity, so other people can enjoy it. And we hope to keep doing it. We hope to be able to do more books. It's not an easy job because there are a lot of legalities involved, but we were able to help different companies with the materials we have. And we've been in touch with the creators. Like my lifetime achievement is probably be able to get to know Mark Taylor and visiting him many times, spending time with him and his wife Rebecca in Los Angeles. And just so you know, guys, I'll tell this story about all this. That sums up what this is about. The first time we visited Mark, at one point we had spent a few hours with him, and we asked, do you still have some artwork for Masters of the Universe? And he said, oh, yes, of course. And he pulled out this big case, like giant case. I opened it, and inside there were this big cardboard. I mean, I don't know the size exactly, but there were large cardboard. And they're called B sheets. B sheets are the old term that you use to describe a design for a figure. And it has to do with the sides of the cardboard. And I opened this case, and I started pulling out the B sheets for Man at Arms and the B sheets for He-Man, like the original drawing in colors by Mark, and Battle Cat. And I started crying because I literally started crying because I had the real stuff in front of me, and it was so big. And right there, he said, yeah, you can take this, scan it, and return to me. And it was the first time I met Mark. And he trusted me with this treasure right away. And of course, we scanned it in high resolution, returned everything to him. But boy, the joy to experience the art, the physical, original art in front of us was something incredible. We did this with something at the first PowerCon in 2011 when we displayed some of the art we own. And people could see it live. We've never been able to do something like that again, but I hope we will do one day. So yeah, that's what we do. We'll keep doing. We have books in the work, and hopefully we'll be able to do more eventually.
Wow, amazing! Thank you, Emiliano. The name of the foundation again is
the Power and Honor Foundation.
The Power and Honor. So it's powerandhonor.org. Is that right?
Powerandhonor.org, and I know it sounds kind of weird of a name, but it's of course a play on He-Man and She-Ra using the power and the honor.
And where can we find you online, Emiliano, if people want to, follow you?
I have. I'm mostly active on Instagram and Facebook. You can find me by my name. I think my professional page, where I interact more about the work I do, is facebook.com/emiliano.santalucia.artist. But I mean, if you just type Emiliano Santalucia, you'll find two pages. One is my personal one, and one is the professional one. The one with .artist is the professional one.
All right. Thank you for coming on the show with us, Emiliano.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. And hopefully you can join us again. You got some final words, Brett? Thank you for joining me for this episode, by the way.
Well, I mean, I'm relatively new into the Philippine scene here, and I appreciate just through the mutual connections that we have and everything else,
Yeah.
being adopted into the family. So hopefully, throughout the next, few months, and by the time the next TOYCON comes along, you'll see a lot more of me, and I'll be as active in the community as I can be.
Yay! Thank you, and bring in more guests for the show.
Okay.
A lot of people look forward to that. Thank you.
Okay.
Jay,
I have to
any
go.
last few
Thanks,
words
bye.
from you or your friend? Thank you, Brett. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All
Okay,
right.
bye.
And any last few words from you, Jay?
Well, just just support Filipino. Just support us. I'm proud to be Filipino and proud na we are recognized in the international community. Thank you sa mga hindi ko nabate. I would like to say thanks to Bong Sevilla of Toy Friendly Toy
Yeah.
Store. And actually, he's a good friend, and Octavia 31 is a good friend. Thank you sa mga sumuporta sa akin when I was starting, and hopefully mas marami pang sumuporta once we were out with all our stuff. Thank you. Salamat.
Thank you.
Yun lang naman.
And if there's one thing
Thank
that
you
this
so
show
much.
can do, it's
Yeah.
we can bring people together. So maybe you guys, Emiliano and Jay, maybe you can work on something because you've already met each other at least through this show. Who knows? That
Hold on.
would be a great collaboration.
Do you know someone in Hasbro? I want actually bago tayo matapos I'm really when I was a kid, talagang gusto ko yung Visionaries. I think Hasbro has the license on that.
Visionaries. Did you ever get that?
Hasbro is a property. It's owned by Hasbro. Yes. Yeah.
So they're planning to do a sculpture on that. Maybe I could do it.
Nice. Oh, we'll hook you up.
I'll be very honest. I don't know if they want to do anything with Visionaries. And if you remember, they did when they did an exclusive last 2 years ago, 3 years ago in San Diego. They did a multi-pack with Transformers, G.I. Joe, Micronauts, and there was King Lyric from Visionaries too, which was a G.I. Joe body refitted as King Lyric. I really don't. It's something that came up in the past, of course, but I don't know what their plan is. Hasbro has all these properties. They are aware that there is a follow for all the brands, and they will love to bring they will love to bring back all of them: Visionaries, Mask, Micronauts, Centurions. There's a lot of stuff that they have and they would like to bring back, and they're always exploring. It's part of my job, helping with this exploration sometime. But I'm just a freelance. I really don't know any specific plans unless I'm actually involved in a research. I don't usually know what they're doing about this, but it's a possibility. I'm sure there is somebody inside Hasbro that wants to do Visionaries again.
So if they want, I'm here.
And Emiliano,
yes.
We'll have another invitation for you to come to the Philippines. You said that you like tasting different types of food. You haven't tasted food until you come to the Philippines. We'd love to fatten you up.
Yeah.
So we'd love to have you here for TOYCON, the real event. When all of this is over, and we'd love to have you.
It was meant to be this year. I'll do my best to come next year if possible, and if you guys want me, I have to come.
Of course. All right. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, gentlemen. Emiliano Santalucia and Jay Sia, thank you for making this episode a smashing success. And we'll see you all again next week for another great episode of TOYCON TV. This has been Cholo, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you. Enjoy. Bye. Bye, Emiliano. Bye, Jay. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you.
Take care.
Stay safe. All right.
All right.